video.
Oh,
Evan,
mine too.
when are you recording?
Right now. Like it's going. Like right now.
Okay.
Like right now.
Where?
Like right now.
Money.
Right about now.
Here's the thing.
What?
Yeah. Noises like that are gonna clip, so don't.
What about yelling?
That's a little clippy.
Okay.
So don't.
Clippy.
Clippy.
You can laugh. Just,
I see you're trying to interrupt the podcast and make it start later. Do you want help with that?
Yes.
Here,
Please
think about it
assist
this way. Think about it this way. If you're just normally talking, keep it pretty close. If you're about to scream and howl in laughter or call someone an idiot, back it away a little bit so it doesn't clip.
Can you hear my thoughts?
Can you hear my digestion?
Oh my god, can we finally start this? Because I'm going to have to drive back up to Longmont after
I'm
this.
just gonna say I'm
Okay.
bored as shit.
How? You're playing fucking Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Well, not
Jordan's doing
anymore,
all the
am
work.
I?
Alright, let's start.
Your ADD is really bad. Okay.
Okay.
I have ADD actually.
Okay, Josh.
Oh shit.
I'm just a dick.
Alright,
Nah,
we are
truer words have never been spoken.
we are actually starting the show.
Okay,
And
everybody look at the camera.
we are starting the show in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to 5 on the 5 Live, coming from Jordan and Evan's basement.
Yeah.
Scenic Jordan and Evans
Rapid.
basement here in Colorado, the best place to record a show.
303.
Even though my phone's 720.
This
Yeah,
week,
I was gonna say
Get
that
out.
too.
Didn't used to be.
Get out.
Yeah, leave.
this is a 303 party only. This week we are talking about 1999's System Shock 2, aka Bioshock 0, and
All the Bioshock with none of the calories.
More like none of
Yeah.
the fun, am I right?
Wait, sponsored by Coke
yeah,
Zero.
everyone turn your can so that the
Oh,
camera
I'm
can
Aquafina, which is made by Coca-Cola.
see. Okay, yeah, Coca. It's brought to you by Coca-Cola and Doritos Locos Tacos.
And H2O.
I was gonna say, I'm brought to you
H2O.
by environmentalism, not using cans or
And he
bottles.
looks the hippiest of all of
Goddamn
us.
hippie.
Skylar and I were the ones that went to Boulder, so I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I didn't wait. Hello?
Oh, okay. Okay, Josh.
You went to
Oh,
school?
I guess so.
I thought you just did Kickstarter.
Dropping the mic.
Oh my god. Alright, we need to
Okay.
start these intros up in here really quick. This is the Robo Tonights and Infos Double Robo, aka Sean here, as your host. And joining me today, I have with me the guy who knows literally nothing about anything related to flesh, but a whole lot about artificial computerized women, if you know what I mean, Dangerous, aka Josh. Josh?
Shodan is my waifu.
I think your game Kickstarter people might be jealous if that's the case.
Why doesn't Senpai Wrench notice me?
Player Senpai, would it be okay if I kill you? Boo-boo?
Oh my god.
Next, we have with me the really silly glitch that lets you fly through the floor at 1 health while tilted at an angle for the rest of your 30-minute speed run to Headhunter, aka Skylar.
Yo, it's actually dying before you grab a ladder
Oh,
that
yeah.
causes it.
Yeah, there's like a robot in that room.
There's a mech that launches you in the air and kills you simultaneously, and then you land on the ladder.
You know
Yeah.
what?
It's pretty awesome.
I just realized Analog A Hate Story is pretty much Shodan the dating sim.
That's totally
Sorry,
unrelated.
I was thinking about it from before.
And you said you didn't
Josh,
have ADD.
you're like literally 90 seconds too late.
Speaking about somebody who
It's on
knows a lot
camera,
about
you
dating
see
sims,
sound.
I also have with me on folding chair number 1, I gotta get a big breath for this one. We have the guy who must have pointed out that if they have the technology to accelerate 2 massive ships to faster than light speeds, they must have had the technology to prevent centuries-old guns and high-tech ray guns from breaking down after 5 shots, and the man who physically can't be muted or sleeping during this episode because we're all together. Subtitle Broom, aka Evan.
You know
Evan,
what?
welcome to the show.
I think I might just sleep.
Evan, I can't hear what you're saying.
We're all in the same
Turn
room.
your
and we
mic
can't-
All of a sudden, Evan had narcolepsy.
It's nice to be here.
Okay, good. Good, I'm glad. And finally we have Jordan. Okay, so let's start with...
I don't want this great intro for
Jordan wrote
myself.
his own intro. Come on, he needs some
Oh
self-pride.
yeah, I took editorial authorship on that. No, just kidding. Alright, finally we have with me the Xerxes to our Von Braun, the condescending voice lady to our silent protagonist, well, more silent than Evan, and the unbreakable, indestructible wrench to this very podcast, Night Train, aka Jordan.
Happy to be
None
here.
of those things are true except for the condescending, the one word. Oh, and lady.
I did think it was funny Oh god, why I don't think my mic's been on this whole time.
Yes!
Oh,
this
thank
podcast
God.
is 30%
Thank
better.
God.
What a classic that I spent like 2 hours like putting this all together. Yeah, I just found that.
Guys, I was muted that whole time.
Oh my God.
I mean, it still goes through everybody else.
Yeah, except for that, the directional mics.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, Jordan.
What?
Directional mics.
What?
Oh my god.
Okay, anyway.
What?
This was literally the worst idea
So what
I've
game did
ever
we
had.
play?
So we played Bioshock Zero.
Okay.
System Shock.
Brought to you by Coke Zero.
Okay.
Just kidding. Okay, so we played System Shock this week. I'm going to try and read the story, and I'm going to make it bigger on my computer because
Control, enter.
it's way too small.
No, control and then mouse wheel, yo.
No.
How do you control?
I'm just going to make the
Foot.
font size bigger. I'm
Foot.
just gonna
Have
make
you
the font
ever
size
been an
bigger. It's
Asian
gonna be
woman who
great.
shoots
Okay.
archery with her foot?
No.
No, but I've seen that video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Oh my
let's
God.
start out with the story because man, does this game have a long story section that I copied from Wikipedia, and that means I'm citing it. So
Oh, spoiler warning.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Spoiler,
see,
spoiler warning. If you haven't played this game, this will be a spoiler warning.
We've
Also-
never given a
but-
spoiler warning before this story ever,
Yeah,
and we're
but-
giving one now?
But this one actually has a good story. It isn't like Overlord.
If you
or
played
something.
Bioshock, you know the story to this game.
Yeah, that's true.
actually true.
Exactly. or Dead Space. 'cause
Well,
they're pretty
slash
much-
like this game has been copied by every other game forever. So
But no, Bioshock is literally System Shock 2 underwater.
yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Wow.
In 2114, 42 years after the events of the original game, an experimental tri-optimum.
That's a company.
That's
Experimental
yeah.
Tri-Optimal.
Okay. So the company Trioptimum, built faster than light starship, the Von
Going well so
Braun,
far.
is on its main voyage. The ship is also followed by the UNN space vessel, the Rickenbacker, which sounds like a fake name.
Sounds like
which,
Hickenlooper.
which is controlled by the Captain William Bedford Diego. God, somebody needs to go make this text better in Wikipedia. No, somebody needs to go edit this article. The son of Edward Diego, the Citadel Station's infamous commander. Because the Rickenbacker doesn't have an FTL system of its own, the two ships are attached for the trip. Also, go play FTL, because that game's really good.
Ship was one.
A few months into the
Sponsor us,
journey,
FTL.
a few months into the journey, the ships respond to a distress call from the planet Tau Ceti 5. The rescue team is sent to the planet's surface. They discover strange eggs. These eggs infect the rescue team and integrate them into an alien communion known as the Many, not the Mary.
I feel
which,
like communion's not the right word for that.
it was a holy ritual.
maybe
Very holy.
community.
Yeah, community or
That-
maybe
that sounds way
I
more
think hive
wholesome.
mind.
commune could work too, but
Probably like
communion's...
hive mind.
What about
yeah.
cult? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Oh!
how about Dead Space?
Yeah.
Trivia note.
Oh god.
The ship's name Von Braun is named after the scientist Werner von Braun, who was one of the first rocket scientists.
Okay, there we go.
That's true.
And the ship doesn't use
And
rockets, it goes faster
Rickenbacker
than light.
is a guitar company.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, isn't there a car dealership in Colorado that's
Rickenbacker.
Rickenbacker? Oh,
Yeah.
Rickenbacker.
Rickenbacker.
Okay. We're getting Colorado exclusive.
We're not
on
in
this
Colorado
episode.
though. Don't stalk us.
Stock
Okay.
Jordan.
Yeah, we're all we have
He
a
lives in Fort
Facebook.
Collins.
What do you like? Anyway,
Oh
so there's a computer malfunction, and you awake from your cryotube on the medical deck of the Von Braun.
You're a soldier.
You're a soldier. You're
Or a
immediately
psychic.
contacted by another
Or an
survivor. You're immediately contacted by another survivor, Dr. Janice Polito, who guides you to the safety before the cabin depressurizes. She demands that you rendezvous on deck 4 of the Von Braun. Just like in Dead Space, you do a ton of shit, and I'm going to skip through a lot of this.
Wait, no. Read about
Oh
Showdown.
my god, okay, so the Many telepathically communicates with you, attempting to convince you to join them. After restarting the ship's engine, the soldier reaches deck 4 and discovers that Polito is dead, and is then confronted by Shodan. Bum, bum,
All
bum.
caps.
Yeah.
Capitals.
It is revealed that she has been posing as Polito to gain the soldier's trust. Shodan mentions that she's responsible for creating the Many through her bioengineering experiments on the Citadel Station. The hacker who created her ejected the grove that contained her experiments to prevent them from contaminating the Earth, and it's what allowed Shodan to survive the events of the first game. The grove crash-landed on Tau Ceti 5, and while Shodan went into forced hibernation, the Many evolved beyond her control. Shodan tells the soldier that his only chance for survival lies in helping her destroy the creations. Efforts to gain control of Xerxes, the main computer on the Von Braun, fail. Shodan informs the soldier that destroying the ship is their only option, but he must transmit her program to the Rickenbacker first. While en route, the soldier briefly encounters 2 survivors, Tommy Suarez and Rebecca Sedones. I don't know how to say those.
Don't.
Sedones, who flee the ship aboard an escape pod. With the transfer complete, the soldier travels to the Rickenbacker and learns both ships have been enveloped by the infection's source, a gigantic mass of bioorganic tissue, which, by the way, I didn't play through that part, but I watched a Let's Play of it, and it looked like the most confusing, annoying thing
Oh
to
my
get
god,
through.
that level design.
Did you
is
get through the
terrible.
biomass
I beat it. I
thing?
beat it.
Okay.
The level design, especially there and like at the very end, are super confusing.
It kind of reminded me of, the flood level in Halo 3
Oh, God,
that's
yeah.
ridiculously annoying
Yeah,
to get
the
through. It
library.
reminded me of that, yeah.
Coglops.
Anyway, so you enter the biomass, you destroy the core, and stop the infection. Shodan congratulates you and tells you of her intentions to merge real space and cyberspace through Von Braun's faster-than-light drive, and the soldier confronts Shodan in cyberspace and defeats her. The final scene shows Tommy and Rebecca receiving a message from the Von Braun. Tommy responds saying they will return, and noting that Rebecca is acting strange.
Oh my gosh.
Rebecca is shown speaking in a Shodan-like voice, asking Tommy if he likes her new look as the screen fades to black.
So is that the story of the game or a full reading
That
of
was
War
like
and
the-
Peace?
Oh my God. That was by far the longest story we've
Holy
ever done.
crap.
But
If you're still watching the podcast now, we're going to talk about interesting things.
Honestly, that was actually literally the entire
That was
story.
the
of
entire
game.
story.
That wasn't a synopsis.
well, I skipped through a lot of the.
Well,
You have
yeah.
to go to this section, then you have to go to that
Yeah.
section, then you have to
Go to the
I mean,
med bay, then
part
to
of-
the engineering
Part of the thing
chamber.
about this game is that this is longer than any other game we've ever played, and it's way more story driven than any other game we've
Oh,
ever
yeah.
played. And I, even though that's a long story segment, like I feel like it's important to know, like that's a big piece of this game. That was something that combined a lot of these shooter elements that were kind of out there for other stuff with a kind of solid story and trying to do that RPG and story thing together.
I think
Yeah.
most of our last shows could be summed up like Fear, Paxton Fettel, fuck shit up. Overlord, you're bad, fuck shit up. What other games did we play?
I like how you said our last shows, like those were like our first two shows.
Those, in fact,
Rayman.
were-
Yeah, right,
You're
Rayman. You got no limbs, fuck shit up. Dungeons and Dreadmore. There's a dungeon, fuck shit up.
Okay.
And then like System Shock, it's like, oh, here's the story.
Well, I mean, what game could you really that we've played, not been like, go and fuck shit up?
Theme Hospital.
I was
fuck
gonna say,
shit up.
You have a secretary who's nagging you. Fuck shit
Yeah,
up.
exactly. I was actually gonna say,
Bay and fuck shit up.
I would have loved to see a Theme Hospital System Shock crossover. You get to the med bay and then you have to like arrange it for patients.
I did think it was funny. I was playing this with Jessica, my girlfriend, and I was like there, and it was like getting to like the first med bay is like the first level, something like that, and I was like, well, it wouldn't be a scary everything's dead horror game if the med bay wasn't the first.
We'll
level.
talk about how scary this game was later,
Yeah.
but
I think if I would have been playing this at the time, it would have been really scary.
Well, I was gonna say,
if I call Tetris scary, then maybe.
I don't know.
Whoa, shot signals
I
fired.
actually
Boom,
modded
boom.
the hell out of my System Shock too. They've got like texture packs
I've
and
seen.
lighting
Oh, really?
packs.
I didn't use any of them
So,
because I wanted to play the original.
It went from like for mine. Well, this is the second time I've played it too.
Right.
So
No, I know.
it went from like 1990 polygons to like late Xbox original generation graphics, and it was decently not like but it was creepy for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, we can move on with the other segments.
I think the only thing that did get me sometimes was some of the sound. Like I think
Oh,
there was
the
good
sound design.
sound
I think there was
design.
good sound and there was good like
Yeah.
atmospheric sound.
Like when the lady talking to you just comes on the speaker really freaking loud when you're just sitting there.
Yeah, or-
it's not supposed to be scary, but it is anyway, just because she's loud.
Yeah, or like some of that like Dead Space type stuff where like voices
No,
get
no.
distorted and you don't know like if it's a hallucination or if it like what's going on with that.
Yeah,
Like
and the enemies yelling and yeah.
yeah.
I really like the music that comes on when you get to like firefights. It's like
No.
really fast. It's like
The music is the best
It's like,
part.
the
We
music
never
is
talked
so
about
whenever
bad.
that happened, I would just be like, "Oh, shit
Don't-
just got
Don't worry,
real."
I have a clip of that, but I call that Matrix music.
Yes.
Every single
Oh.
movie.
so awesome.
It is
so
right.
awesome.
High five.
It was like everything from like
Sorry,
1998
people
to
listening to my mic.
2003
right?
was like Crystal Method style
Oh,
like
Oh, it was so awesome.
Fat Boy Slim.
which like I like that type of music, but in this game it felt kind of out of place.
It did
It did.
feel a little out of place,
Yeah.
but it was still
Well,
awesome.
the other thing is, it
Wait,
was
we
like
need to not talk about the whole
Yeah,
thing.
let's get to the situation room and the other stuff, and then we'll get to
That's fine. It's good. It's good. Okay, let's get to the situation room. So we're gonna add the bumpers in later. So we're gonna Colorado's news leader. Situation room.
This is the situation room.
Talking. Yeah.
Okay, that's like. Why? Why would you do that?
Because I can, Jordan. Gaze into the abyss with me.
Anyway,
So, viewers, just so you're aware, if you're watching this,
if this is your first episode, I'm so sorry.
if this any episode is your first episode,
Josh is in the episode. I'm sorry. And that one episode that Jordan's not there is good too.
so I spent a ton of time and we got this all set up. So all 5 of us were running in like same input, and I didn't have to buy anything. The only thing we really couldn't do is wire any like computer sounds in here. So we're gonna have.
We just couldn't figure out a way to get it.
George's just bad.
It was like one step too many. So we're gonna have. Yeah, like some sound effects edited in later, so that's why we all look like idiots right there. And
Wait, why are you telling them?
Because
That's the joke.
no,
That's
it's
the
totally
joke.
not. It's totally
That's the joke. Put the bumper here while Jordan's explaining.
I have stepped into the abyss, Jordan, and it sounded like.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
let's start with the situation room.
Yeah.
Anyway,
situation.
God help us, indeed, Skylar. Why don't you talk to us about
Good
the
job,
situation
John.
room?
The world. Have you ever been to McDonald's?
Yes.
Yeah,
What?
That's a place.
What's
Did you know the world's oldest ham?
Oops.
We broke Josh.
That's a place. What?
Situation room over.
There's so nonchalant in that statement. Have you ever been to McDonald's? Yes, that's a place.
That's my general response to stuff that I picked up from you when we were.
I know. I'm
in
usually the one who
college.
says, so that's a thing, but like, it's weird being on the receiving end of it.
Yes, that's
Okay,
a
well,
place.
yeah, you know, when you're used to giving, receiving.
Well-
stuff, so.
Hey, Skylar. Let's say just on a dime, I have heard of McDonald's. Please tell me.
Have you also heard of David Whipple of Utah?
No.
No.
Well, he kept the McDonald's hamburger from 1999 all the way to 2013. And apparently it looks new, he says.
Yeah,
And
but
there's a
did he
video,
eat it?
which I will now hold up to the camera. Hold up to the
HD camera effects.
But
Let's
did
see.
he eat it?
No, I don't think so.
David Whipple of Utah, if you're hearing this, eat
If you're
that
listening to
motherfucker.
this, eat
But
that burger.
fast food chicken sandwiches, store-bought guacamole, and American cheese can stand the mold-free test of time, as in they will never
What does that have to
mold.
do with 1999?
Because he started keeping the hamburger in 1999. Don't worry,
Okay.
we're focusing in. That was like the blurry part of the in focus.
Zoom
Oh my
in,
God.
zoom in and enhance.
No,
Sector
zoom-
4.
zoom in and enhance. Actually, this also talks about 2 different years, but it's more recent than 2013, or less recent than 2013. So we're zooming in slightly more.
It's either
to-
more or less recent than 2013.
What was the top
It's
companies?
somewhere around there.
Name a top company from 1999.
Yeah.
AOL.
Microsoft.
Lycos. Alta Vista.
AOL. Gotta be AOL.
McDonald's.
So none of you have been right. yet.
Yahoo?
No.
Google.
Was Google a thing yet?
No.
Wait, Microsoft wasn't up there?
Microsoft is up
I
there.
said Microsoft.
Yeah.
Apple.
Sorry.
Right, Evan said it, but I'm still.
I think
Also-
that was before Apple.
Intel, IBM,
Oh,
Nokia. Anyway.
Oh yeah, the Nokia brick. That was out then.
Right.
That was their
So
hot
yeah,
new
Motorola?
Google and Apple were not
Motorola?
there. No.
I would have thought that
like
sweet
I feel like
Motorola
Google was
razor I
almost
had
new
back
in
then
1999.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, that was a boring article.
So that happened.
What's the most popular game released in 1999?
System Shock 2.
Absolutely not.
Metal Gear
Try
Solid.
again.
Metal
It's
Gear-
a scary game. A
I'm
scary
trying to-
game we probably could have
it's-
played instead. It would have been scarier.
It's before Halo, because Halo was Xbox and that was 2000.
Think about Evan's top
Was it Resident
characteristic
Evil?
on this show, and that should tell you the
It's
first.
got to be Silent Hill.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah.
It was either Silent Hill or Sleeping Caster.
Hey, Skylar. Foot off the table. You're knocking stuff over.
Wha-
That's my job.
Wait, what if this is knocked over?
Water.
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 That wasn't me.
Yes, because you
Water on
laughed.
my
You
3DS.
laughed and you kicked the table.
my
God.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why we can't have that.
Silent Hill, yes.
Yep. Number 2 is a sequel.
Silent Hill 2.
No, Grand Theft Auto 2.
Oh, well, that was vague.
Yep. Crazy Taxi is also up there.
Oh,
So is
that's-
apparently the number 8 game is Reading Blaster Kindergarten.
To
Oh,
be
yeah,
fair,
I
that
had
game
that.
was the
I
shit.
had that game.
Oh yeah, great stuff.
Omicron, the Nomad Soul, David Cage, one of David Cage's first games.
Nice.
You know who David Cage is though, right?
Yeah, I know David
Yeah.
Cage. I've never heard of Omicron, the Nomad Soul.
Well, apparently, I know one thing about it, which is that David Bowie does the intro theme, like, legitimately.
So-
Oh yeah.
Buying on
So not like fake David
No,
Bowie,
like,
like
he
in
is
Soul
singing
Reaper.
the song.
Fake David Bowie.
I wish I had that Soul Reaver clip to play.
Just play it.
I don't have it.
We'll find it.
We'll find it and edit it in while
Okay.
Jordan's explaining
Well,
that the clips
we'll
aren't
fix
in
it
the
in
show.
post.
Super Smash Brothers also
That was a game.
came out in
That came out in
1999.
99.
Yeah.
That makes
We
sense.
should play that for
That's
the
a
show.
game.
Seriously, if you can get that for under $5,
Tony
I'll
Hawk's
be
Pro
surprised.
Skater.
Was that 99?
I have no idea. It was just a great game.
Probably.
Let's
just-
Bioshock Infinite's 1999 mode. 1999.
Right.
I went back in time with Quantum Entanglement and
Yep.
came out in 99.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so that's things
Alright,
that
so
there's
that's-
really nothing interesting that happened.
That's
in
okay, that's
1999.
Except for the turn
Alright.
of the
I
millennium.
thought you were gonna do a speedrun corner.
I am, but
Okay,
I'm not
so-
close enough to the corner.
So this is what did I say on the Facebook page? This is the Speedrun Nook, a division of the
Oh my
or no,
God.
sorry. This
Why
is
are
the
you
glitch,
turning into Jordan?
This is the Glitch Nook, a division of the Speedrun Corner.
We're an independent subsidiary of no one.
That was
destroyed.
surprisingly vegetable free, and I'm a little disappointed.
That's because there's nothing. Oh wait, it's because I opened a PDF about vegetables and it didn't load. But it was the top vegetables from Alaska of 1999. So you can just feel bad that you
Please
didn't get
tell
to
me
see
if one of
that.
them was iceberg lettuce.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
At
Don't-
one of these points, we're gonna do 2005, and there will be a Terry Schiavo joke.
I think you've already made that
Yeah.
You
joke.
made that joke during like a 2010
Yeah.
show.
Well,
You're talking about vegetables. Maybe you're gonna make a Terry Schiavo joke. Oh wait, that was 5 years ago.
It wasn't even 5 years ago. It was
I'm
like
gonna
8.
get the year right at one of these points. I've been waiting for it.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Alright,
so
Skylar,
anyway,
go.
speedruns, we talked about a little bit at the beginning. So the record, as far as I know, single segment, which is cheating speedruns for all you aspiring speedrunners,
So wait, what does
Single
it call if
segment
you
means-
don't?
means you record each part of the game separately, so you redo like each chapter until you get a perfect time, and then you splice them together into one run.
Okay.
Whereas like a full run is where you do it straight through.
Like a
with
composite ACT
no
score.
cuts.
Or something.
Yeah, composite ACT.
I worked in admissions
Right,
for
all
2
you
years.
nerds
Yeah,
who like standardized
Hey,
tests.
you
now you
stupid Bears
understand.
people. I got your back. I'm thinking about you.
So yeah,
Oh, snap.
so that's a thing. So a single segment is 27 minutes, and then I
That's
think
pretty fast.
yeah, the full run record is like a little over 30 minutes. So a single segment isn't that much faster.
So the one we watched and posted to our Facebook, was that a full run?
The one I posted one in the comments that was a full run.
Okay.
Yeah, the one Sean
that
posted
I
was a single
It was
segment.
the glitchy one.
Gotcha.
That was, yeah.
So the one I watched was glitchy too. I watched the first one. So the first one, basically all he does is 2 minutes into the game, you can become invincible for the rest of the game. And then,
Which really takes the horror element away.
Yeah,
Right.
up,
Very
up,
scary.
down, left, right, left,
Yeah,
right.
right.
EA select
so the
center.
full run is way more interesting, where he doesn't use that glitch. Maybe because he didn't know about it, because it might be relatively
Or
new.
maybe because he's not a bitch and wants to play it the right way.
Right.
Well,
So
it does seem to. I mean, obviously glitches and things are a part of speedrunning, but like an invincibility run through the floor, through the entire game after 2 minutes does seem to defeat the purpose a little bit.
yeah,
I think
But bouncing up the infinite staircase after 16 stars in Super Mario 64 totally doesn't, though.
Sure.
I
We'll
actually
go with
think
that.
Skylar, I think that glitch might have been discovered later because he says when he's so the one that you posted that's the full run.
Yep,
he
yep,
says like
yep.
I think there's a way to get through this cutscene, but I don't quite like if I
was
do it, it
thinking
glitches out
thinking the
weird or
same
something.
thing. Yeah.
So I think maybe somebody must have figured it out after.
I think so.
He mentioned
But anyway, so some of the cool glitches he uses in that one that aren't just completely game breaking. One thing is, I don't know if you guys experienced this because I don't know how often you use speed boosters, but if you use them at full speed and hit a wall, you'll just die.
Yeah, that was funny
Yeah,
you said that.
I had that happen a couple times.
Yeah,
This is one of the reasons that I love watching the speedruns before we do a show because you learn so many weird things about the game that like the five of us would have
You never
never
would've known.
would have never known or
Right,
figured out.
right. So yeah, so he only uses them in straight sections because he doesn't want to die. So you have to be really careful how you use them. Another thing that was cool that he did, which is kind of game breaking, and I don't think any modern game would ever do this anymore, is that the codes in the game, like the door codes, are the same every time.
Yeah.
So if you just memorize them, you can get like sequence break the entire game. You can get like cutscenes from really late in the game, like 10 minutes into the game,
Yeah.
and like stuff like that.
Yeah, that was the one thing that was kind of weird about that full run was like he was doing things like that you would be doing, 4 or 5
Completely
hours
out of
into
order.
the game. Yeah, just right at the beginning so that later on he could bolt through it when he needed to go.
Yeah.
or
You know,
whatever,
Doom 3 was actually like that.
You
Where
could-
all the cutscenes, because they were all found in like audio logs or stuff like that, you could actually gain access to like really heavy weaponry early on in Doom 3 if you
Right.
remembered the code.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you used a series of interconnected computers that could tell you the codes.
This was definitely a game that was very like there were I feel like I played it on easy because I didn't want to like get 4 hours in and then be screwed, and I wanted to get farther in. And like after that, I kind of was just curious because I thought the game was stupidly difficult even on easy. And so I went through and just like looked at a walkthrough, like what did they say to start with? And like he was like basically his was geared for impossible, so I took it with a grain of salt. But he was like the only real way to do it is this, and this. And then like if you do it this way, you're gonna do this. These things utterly useless. And it's just like this is definitely a game that your life would be so much easier when you already either know what you're doing or are reading a walkthrough.
I was gonna say, especially with the skill progression and putting
God.
points in, there were some really easy ways to break your character.
Keep talking. Keep talking. How is this supposed to-
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Share with the class. Did
Evan,
you bring it up for everyone?
That's actually a good idea.
I was just saying because we can't actually see the volume of what we're speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan should turn the monitor around to make sure we aren't.
Go do it.
Then we can all look at the monitor instead of the camera.
Yeah, you should also turn down the headphones because I'm hearing us coming back out to the headphones.
Okay, well that I'm
Really?
sure isn't getting picked up.
You don't think that's gonna get picked up?
Anyway,
We're gonna, yeah.
I'll just keep talking because
Yeah.
no one cares whether Jordan's here or not. The other thing, speaking of skill points, good
Yes,
transition,
thank
Josh,
you. Yeah.
is that you can spend skill points while in the skill point menu, use them
I
to do
saw
tasks, and then undo them, and then spend them in other stuff, because they instantly go into effect before you close the menu. So what they do in the speedrun is to research things. They pump their research skill points all the way up to as high as they can, do the research, start the research, and then just undo it all and put them into real skills.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then,
Yeah,
and then keep going. As
I
long as
guess
you don't close the
we
skill
should
menu.
probably kind of introduce.
I mean,
how
we
the
will.
RPG system works.
No one cares about any of those things. Like, they'll learn through the show how the glitches actually relate to the game.
Well, not the glitches, but I mean,
Idea.
like the kind of the system of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay,
Um,
So is this the part where we're
You
talking
can
about
also
our
death
history?
warp. You can also death warp to checkpoints, and you won't lose your inventory.
Yeah.
So you can like collect key cards and then die, and then be way closer to where.
I
you
thought
need
that
to
was
be.
interesting because I know we're basically talking about the game at this point. I thought that was interesting because like the whole time like I was so worried about dying, and then the first time I died, I realized it was literally out of BioShock where you just pop back in and you lost your ammo.
Had a safe spot.
Except that the first time that I died was before you got
Me
to that
too.
first
Like
round.
right before.
And I hadn't saved forever,
Replayed
and so I
the
was like,
whole-
well,
Yep.
fuck that shit.
Yep. I was like not playing this game anymore for at least a day.
I
Or
went
at
all the way back to that first autosave when you come out of the cryo thing.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
God.
well, that was fun. I'm going to put this down for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that feel.
You know what?
But then once you get to that first thing, it's, you just die and you're automatically there.
Before we get too far into the game, though, we should do our history segment, and this time...
Hey, Josh, have you ever used the microphone before?
No, but I sucked at what?
Well, then you probably didn't do a very good job.
I was gonna say a lollipop.
Then you probably didn't do a very good job. How many licks did it take you to get the Sarah the Tootsie
Oh my
Roll
God.
Pop? Like all of them?
I don't know, we didn't finish
Okay,
playing
so
it.
disclaimer. God.
But before we go any farther, because it is kind of our Halloween show, too.
Boom.
Instead of
Is that
doing
the-
history of, like, first-person shooters,
Wait, we have to do the history
I was
of
gonna say...
this game's
Oh,
development
yeah,
first.
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Well, disclaimer.
Disclaimer, this may be better than Jordan's normal history,
Yeah.
so that's because he didn't write it.
Yeah, I had to spend like a good 2.5
Okay,
hours.
whatever. Nobody cares
Yeah,
about that.
no one
Jordan is
cares,
setting up
Jordan.
this whole
No
thing.
one cares about that.
Again.
All you need to
So-
know, it's not written by Jordan, so if it's better, don't tell him he
Yeah,
improved.
this is written by the community at Wikipedia. Okay, so development of System Shock 2 began in 1997 when Looking Glass Studios approached Irrational Games with an idea to co-develop a new game. The development team were fans of System Shock and sought to create a similar game. Early story ideas were similar to the novella Heart of Darkness. In the early draft, the player is tasked with assassinating an insane commander on a starship. The original title of the game, according to its pitch document, was Junction Point, which is a horrible name for a game. The philosophy of the design was to continue to develop the concept of a dungeon crawler, like Ultima Underworld: The Stygian Abyss, in a sci-fi setting. Originally intended to be a standalone title, the story was changed during production to a sequel to the 1994 PC game System Shock, which they were already developing it to be like System Shock, so it wasn't that far of a stretch. But the alterations were made when Electronic Arts, who owned the System Shock franchise rights, signed on as a publisher. System Shock 2 was released on August 11th, 1999 in North America. System Shock 2 received positive reviews when released, but failed to meet commercial sales expectations Many critics later determined that the game was highly influential in subsequent game design, particularly on first-person shooters, and considered it far ahead of its time, which I really felt while I was playing back through it. It felt really modern already.
No,
when I was playing
even though the graphics were like very not.
Yeah.
But again, if you
Feeling
install
was.
some texture packs,
I
it's-
looked a little
it's
bit for them. I
really-
didn't find them
yeah.
right away, so I didn't use them. But that's awesome.
But it's been included in several greatest games of all times list. It's kind of in that same list as like
Tetris.
like Psychonauts or you know like
Yeah.
other games that were like when people look back on it, they're like, this is a phenomenal game, but it just didn't have a lot of commercial success.
Pac-Man
Right,
especially.
right.
Pac-Man was
Yeah,
the worst.
Pac-Man really that nobody cared about Pac-Man.
even
Well, it's because
that-
it tried to get kids to eat fruit.
Well spoken.
goddamn
but,
nutritional agenda.
But yeah, kind of about the like modern gameplay elements. Like I really felt while I was playing through this that this game could have come out last year or whatever, and it would have felt fine, and it did because it was called BioShock Infinite.
No. Bioshock
Shots fired, shots fired.
No,
Bioshock
no.
was
But-
very different.
But it
You mean way
but
worse?
it did feel it did feel modern in a lot of ways. Like I think you know some of the stuff felt kind of clunky, and the like weird point and clicky stuff felt kind of weird. Like there were parts of it that felt kind of bizarre, but I think the way that the levels were laid out, the puzzle systems, like it's really obvious that this game is a piece of the route that most games trace
That's
their
true.
gameplay
Especially
back
audio logs. This game
That's
pretty
true.
much
Oh my
started
God.
the
to.
whole.
Did this introduce
This
audio
was,
logs?
Yeah,
this
I
was
think so.
the game that started the whole pick up and listen to audio logs while you play.
You know that
it.
thing you do in Bioshock?
And Dead Space.
Well, no, I
Every
gotta
other
say,
game.
Right.
I mean, Sean and I were talking about this earlier today, but like, so much of this, like Dead Space, you could really call. I mean, we've been joking that this is Bioshock Zero or whatever, but I mean, Dead Space
Brought
was
to you by
really
Coke Zero.
yeah, brought to you by Coke Zero. Excuse me, I gotta remember our sponsor. But like, Dead Space really seems like the spiritual sequel to this game. I mean, you had the same kind of setting. A lot of the points were similar. You know,
Except the big difference I would say is I would say that at least the first Dead Space is a lot more horror
Yeah.
kind
I
of
agree.
genre, whereas like
Yeah.
I would say that actually probably Dead Space 3 was the closest to this game.
I haven't played Dead Space 3.
I was just talking about story elements.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
There are a lot of really like bizarrely specific story parallels. Like,
This-
Oh, yeah.
like going to the med bay
Yeah.
section, having to go to hydroponics and use a toxin to like get rid of a biomass.
Well, I had heard the guys
Um,
at EA Redwood who made Dead Space 1, when they were interviewed about it, they actually said that they basically wanted to create a spiritual successor to...
We've learned that Josh is the worst with the mic.
You were like literally mid-sentence, you were just like, and then you went back, and you were just talking.
It's got a thing on the back.
Yeah, it does, but you need to. Yeah, it does, but you need to talk.
The
into
point
it.
is that I heard an interview with them, and they said that they pretty much wanted Dead Space to be a spiritual successor to Spirit.
Interesting.
System
Yeah,
Shock
I
2.
totally
Yeah.
believe that.
Fair enough.
Or Bioshock for that matter.
So, but I mean, I am going to disagree in that I think there was a lot of things. I mean, I think saying it was ahead of its time is entirely accurate, but I think to call it like could be a modern game, there were so many
Well-
things. That UI had nothing
Well,
streamlined.
I
I
disagree
think
completely.
polished things
I
that
liked.
kept it
Okay,
moving.
I might. We need to. I'll talk about this later. Let's move on. We'll talk. We'll
Oh,
argue
yeah, all right,
later.
we'll tune
Okay,
into
well,
the
Jordan
jokes.
took my pillows already.
That said,
Have
this
his actually use
game,
my fist.
this game is basically Event Horizon, the game. Have you ever seen that movie with
Oh,
Lawrence
yeah, I can
Fishburne
kinda
and
see
Sam
that.
Neill?
Yeah.
It's like
I can kind of
Yep.
see that. Yeah, like
I've
kind of the
seen
deep space travel,
Yeah,
erupted.
and the whole thing about it's a faster
definitely
than
more
light
cyberpunk,
drive.
but
Yeah, it's the Matrix meets Event Horizon,
yeah, I can see that.
starring
Starring
Famke Janssen as
Neuromancer.
Shodan. I don't know.
So
Go
the one thing I want to talk about, we kind of have our history segment. I mean, I think all of us have played Dead Space, right? And we've
Yeah.
all played Bioshock 1.
I didn't beat Dead
I was gonna
Space
say
1.
we've talked about
But I have
first person
played
shooters
most of it.
before. So
Yeah,
we're
we
talking
talked about that a
horror.
lot.
course, yeah.
Did anybody play this game when it came out, or played it
Yeah,
earlier?
me. I did.
Okay.
I didn't,
So,
but I'm
I
gonna
actually
buy it
didn't
anyway.
play System Shock 1, but I played System Shock 2 under a recommendation in like 2002, and it was good back then. It's still great now. It's a good
Okay.
game.
Fanboy.
8 out of
Says irrational fanboy number
Right.
1.
What?
This game was terrible and unplayable. 9 out of 10. IGN.
Yep.
This game was awful, had some redeeming
I like this game
Yeah.
more than I liked Serious
Speaking
Sam.
of-
Said no one ever
Right.
named Jordan.
Speaking of IGN, as an IGN tangent, did you see that they gave the new Call of Duty Ghosts like a...
Ghosts.
There was like a 9 out of 10 saying it was a great build upon an existing franchise, and they gave him Arkham Origins a 3.5 out of 10, saying that it was just a retread of gaming systems that they
Oh my
and
God.
the game design that they've seen before.
I didn't think it was like I don't think it was like a 3.5 or something, but they gave Arkham Origins
Yeah, they gave it a
lower
3.5
score.
out of 10.
That was like Destructoid.
Yeah.
That was Jim Sterling.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was somebody.
Whoa, Jordan, bring
I read
out
this
this dropping
Yeah,
name bombs.
and they were saying that like it's just a retread of game
Well,
systems.
here,
that
I mean,
already
this
exist.
is unrelated, but I did think I thought Jim Sterling was being harsh, but I read his review and I thought it was fair. Though the point about like, you know, all the Call of Duties being basically the same, but adding some new features, 9 out of 10s, and then like Arkham Origins adding some new features, but basically the same, 6 out of 10. I did think that was kind of relevant.
Combat dogs that can take down helicopters. 9 out of 10.
I mean, I don't know. I guess this kind of harks back to this too, because now this was ahead of its time. But to me, if you have a series that has roughly the same gameplay each time, I don't think it necessarily has to be more super innovative in actual mechanics versus story, right? Like every Final Fantasy 1 through pretty much 6 up until you start hitting the 3D era is pretty much system-wise exactly the same. You know, the different moves, different, you know, classes, but, you know, fight, magic, item, run.
Yeah.
You know, for your menu, and you know what you're getting into, but I don't think they should review Final Fantasy 3 or 5 and go, this game doesn't change the mechanics at all. 0 out of 10. You know, I think that it's the story that if you take something and make it innovative, the same way. I haven't played any of the Batman games because I'm the
What the hell is
You
wrong with
I don't know.
Asylum?
I own them. I own them. And
I told
haven't
you.
I'm
played
the
them.
exact same person as you.
What the hell is wrong with you two?
I played a
want
little
to.
bit of the first
I
one.
want to, but then League of Legends sings its song.
I want to, but then every other of my 450 Steam games wants to be played.
I'm at like 150, so I'm not.
But then you
I'm
just
not-
put another 5 hours into your 400 on Super Meat Boy.
You can more Binding of Isaac. I think I played more Binding of Isaac.
Oh my god, that's important.
But
John,
anyways,
your point.
but so
Jordan, you like the Binding of Isaac, right?
now I lost my point. What was I saying?
No,
Well, here,
probably something we don't
would
care
say
about.
this. I would say this. I think there is this drive for innovation, especially because nowadays, like some of these games are on like Assassin's Creed, right? Is like on these stupid yearly releases, and so people expect some new things. I think it depends on the gameplay, though. I think plenty of people would have been just fine with another Arkham game with the exact same gameplay, maybe some minor iterations, but the same kind of really fleshed out, really polished. Because that gameplay, I mean, you could barely find a single hole into it.
Yeah.
The stealth and the combat is fucking bulletproof.
Especially a game that
It's so
was,
good.
like, that its first iteration was so inventive.
Right.
You know, where it's like that game was completely different than anything else, especially the combat and the way that the stealth stuff worked was so much better than anything else. Like, you can't capture that again, I feel like.
Well, here's a example that's also a shameless plug, not for Coke Zero.
Oh god.
So, as many
Oh,
of you know, our Kickstarter went up.
I was just saying,
last
yeah,
week.
For
And we actually-
Copocalypse?
We actually had a comment on it that said, "So what? It's another RPG. You're not going to change RPGs forever." And it's like, well, no, but that's not the point. If we're coming up with an interesting story, especially in a game which is a role-playing game, do I have to reinvent the wheel to make a compelling game that's mainly story-driven? It's the same way every single visual novel ever, I'm looking at you, Japan, has the same system where you click a button that's choice 1 or choice 2, and that is the gameplay. That is the gameplay.
Isn't this the same argument we had over Call of Cthulhu, where it's like,
Cthulhu Saves the World?
Or Cthulhu
Yeah.
Saves the World, I mean, sorry. Different
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
No, yeah, that's
It's
the- it's the same argument,
Is
for
it
sure.
if you're doing a throwback, if you're putting something in a genre specifically intentionally, if you're trying to set up a story or something in a specific genre, is that a bad thing because you're redoing genre tropes? Again,
Right,
I
and
don't-
it's the kind of that same Batman argument. Assumably, any Batman game is going to be about punching dudes in the face, being
or punching them in the face
Right.
when they can't see you.
right, or punching dudes in the face, punching dudes in the face when they can't see you, solving crimes, and
Being really depressed about your relatives being dead.
yeah, or the optional crying about your dead parents minigame.
Right.
But so like at some point, I don't know if you're going to innovate on that the same way they kind of like Tetris, and then there was Tetris with multiplayer, and then there was like Tetris Match 3, and now there's like 3D crazy Tetris, and it's like at some point I don't know if you need to improve upon that.
Well, I think the expectation that there should always be innovation is bad. I think that I think this idea that there always should be this some level, walking in, there should be some level of innovation is bad, but I think you need gameplay that doesn't necessarily merit any innovation.
I think innovation should always be the end goal, and I'm going to use Pokemon as an example here, but I don't think it's always necessary. I think you had red and blue and green, and then you had Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then you had Fire Red and Sapphire, and then it wasn't bad.
Mine is all messed up.
Whatever.
For anyone who knows anything about Pokemon, it's okay.
By the way, this week's game was Pokemon. Pokemon X and Y.
But kind of the point that you didn't really need a ton of innovation, and then you had X and Y, which was like, wow, this is great.
I think it's just wow for you because you haven't played any of the previous
Well,
ones.
but
Because it
X
doesn't
and
change
Y,
them that.
no, but but my point, which I'm getting to, is it doesn't change the game that much, but it kind of gives us a glimpse of where it could go in the future, right?
And it updates it in a lot of ways.
Right, but it's baby steps, Battlefield
we need to stop talking about this. You need to
Battlefield
stop
1
giving
through
us
3 had
examples.
nine.
You have 30 seconds to tie this back to
I'm
System
tying this
Shock.
back.
Yes,
Battlefield 3,
seriously.
1 through 3 had knives, and now Battlefield 4 has counter knifing. And it's not really a huge deviation, but it's innovation. And this is where it ties back to System Shock, is Dead Space.
That there weren't knives in System Shock.
Dead Space 1 and Bioshock are system-wise, mechanically sound, but, mechanics-wise, they're extremely similar to System Shock 2 with a new coat of paint, better UI, better...
I think the story is much more similar than the mechanics, to be honest.
I would agree with that.
Like almost entirely different.
I think if you put the story of Bioshock and Dead Space together, you get basically System
Well,
Shock.
yes.
Minus like the rogue AI thing.
Right.
But
But I
if
don't
you
think the
combine them,
gameplay
then
is that similar.
Spoiler for
I
anyone
think-
who hasn't played
I
Bioshock.
think the Bioshock gameplay is more similar. I think that's
Yeah.
I still don't think it's that similar though.
I think it is.
I think it's definitely the same foundation, right? And you can see the psionic thing is definitely like the precursor for the plasmids, right? And like the guns with different ammo modes and stuff. Like all of that is definitely on the same foundation, but I would agree that there's a lot of systems that are very different.
To be fair, Dead Space Dead Space and System Shock 2 only really share kind of the space setting and the body horror in general. Because the plot of Dead Space is totally different, but Bioshock's plot...
No, it's not.
But in Dead Space, they go to the planet, they find a thing that corrupts everybody else, and then they're turning into hybrid
that's the same as Alien
things.
or, to me, Bioshock's much closer because you can rename Shodan Fontaine, and then you have the same...
You just wanted to spoil people at Bioshock 1.
If you haven't played Bioshock 1 by now...
Well, don't give
go
away
home
the
and
big
do it.
spoiler, because
No,
that's
but
like half the fun of the game,
Anyway,
right?
before Josh spoils every game you've ever loved or wanted to play, let's move on
Before he
to
goes
the
down
cat
a
topic.
Wikipedia
Yeah, let's talk about our topics here. So speaking...
So are we like an hour into the show already?
I don't know because I can't see the
Generally.
time on there, but why don't we, Skylar, why don't you start by talking about art and graphics? I think that's a good place to
Alright,
start.
so the graphics, because then we don't have to get back in tangents about what we were just talking about. So the graphics are like polygons. It's like any game from that era. It's era.
Is that everything either really sprites or polygons?
Right, so it looks like Legacy of Kain got a makeover, like 3 really good makeovers.
Yeah,
And
it's flat. Like
I'd say like two really good
Two
makeup.
really
the
good
biggest thing for
makeovers.
me was faces. Like there's no.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's just a flat texture.
There's like a dozen polygons on the face.
Okay,
Right.
especially when you find like the nurse enemies and their heads are basically like triangles.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we need to talk. If you're going to mention enemies, then I'm going to talk about the Hadoken monkeys.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
god.
we'll get there. Talk about the art and the...
So the best art in the game was the Hadoken monkeys. They were monkeys that had Hadokens.
I would say actually probably Shodan's face. Like she's like the one.
But that's not really. That's just like
pretty
someone
much-
drew that.
No. I'm saying at the end, like at the,
Oh, I
the
didn't
final
see
I mean, like
boss.
MCP Tron.
Like
face.
right, yeah. If you watch the speedrun too, like the face of Shodan, which you encounter in cyberspace, it's the only time you ever see it. But it's like significantly.
Well, it's the
higher
only time you ever
quality
see it except for the album art or the game
Yeah.
art in Steam.
I thought it was kind of funny when we were talking about that. I watched the zero punctuation for this game. Because I like to go back and watch those after I've actually played the game, so I get the jokes.
So you can get ideas for how you can insult the game.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, like he makes the joke that he's like, you know, you walk in and it's a continuation from the game, but they try not to make it seem like that. And he kind of jokes how like the intro to the game is talking about how there was this rogue AI and all this kind of stuff, and then they just plop you in the same and they're like, hey, don't mind any of that. That was just not relevant at all, and also don't look at the box art.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
And when Shoten shows up, she's totally not gonna be Rogue again. Don't expect a twist.
Yeah.
Don't look here.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the AI behind the curtain.
yeah, I mean, I was kind of, I don't know, like, I mean, this is kind of drifting off the graphics, but since we're talking about the main antagonist,
Since we're always on topic, we might as well
Yeah,
drift off
right.
once in a while.
it was kind of funny because even though I didn't play the first System Shock, and that doesn't sound like
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, it still was like
Is
you
there
knew
even
that
a
was
first
gonna
System
be.
Shock?
It was kind of weird because you knew that was going to be the antagonist, but they still were kind of like trying to hide it from you a little bit, you know? Because it was like sometimes her voice would pop in, you know, when the other things were talking, right? And it's like, you know, I mean, there's obviously twists to be had in this game, but it just kind of seemed to me it was like they should have just pulled a GLaDOS in Portal 2, where it's like everybody knows she's going to be back, right? Everybody knows that GLaDOS is going to be back, so you boom, there it is,
Yeah,
right?
I did, by the way, get a very GLaDOS vibe. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
the whole time I was walking around, I couldn't stop thinking about GLaDOS.
Just wasn't
and
as
that
funny, though.
voiceover.
That was-
Yeah,
Well-
but it wasn't meant to be as
And
funny, but
Shoten's pretty creepy.
that kind of like
Oh, yeah.
evil, maniacal sort of like, yeah, I definitely got that vibe a lot. So that was pretty interesting.
Anyway, Skylar, continue.
So, other art aspects, the textures were pretty, like, they were like the same as all 90s games. They were poor, but they were fine. You
Being
could
on
tell
the
what
ship-
stuff was.
Yeah, no,
That's
Yeah.
good, right?
yeah.
being on the ship really reminded me of Halo 1. Like,
That's
Yeah, oh,
good
absolutely.
comparison, yeah.
It really felt a lot
Which-
like the environments felt very similar to
Which
that.
is strange to say, though. Halo 1 was, 2 years later? But the graphics, because it was 2001,
Yeah.
it was an Xbox launch title. I'd say the graphics in Halo 1 were significantly better.
Well, I think the character graphics were way better. That was the big difference. I think the environment graphics were pretty similar, but like the facial expressions of the characters in Halo 1, you had a lot more of that. And you also had a lot more like particle effects, like the guns and
Yeah.
stuff were really
Yeah.
bright and yeah, that kind of stuff. But as far as just the environments go, it felt really similar to me.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it suffered from that. What a lot of these spaceship-related games suffer from is that, you know, despite the fact you're moving from different wings, it's like grayish corridor,
Right, they
with
all look
lights
the same.
and
Unless you're in
computery things.
cyberspace where it's all neon blue and black.
Okay, well,
you have to
with
like
the
read
exception of-
you have to like read the labels of
Yeah.
the rooms to tell the difference.
Yeah, I
between
definitely
anything.
got like that first section where you have to like get the power cell and then get it,
Oh,
get
God,
it
yeah.
turned on
Yeah.
or whatever. That took me like
forever.
probably twice as long as
Not
it
even
should
to
have.
took me
mention
like
the
50
Hadoken
minutes.
monkeys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I spent so much time.
You
I spent so much time running
I
between
looked at that.
And the other thing was, you know, those security doors or whatever, those didn't look like they could open.
Right,
No.
right.
And
God,
so,
no.
and so I went into every single room and I'm like, I must be missing something. Like I've been in every single room, I've done everything I can do, I've hacked everything that I can.
You just haven't
And
run
I
head
haven't
first into
found
random
it. Yeah.
metal doors.
and those doors don't open until you were literally
Right.
right, next
In
to
Right.
front
them.
of them.
And they don't look like they can open. And so I got stuck at that part forever until I like got too close to one and I'm like, oh, those are doors. That opens like 4 more corridors
Yeah.
I didn't know about.
I'm not gonna lie, until I installed the texture pack, I spent a lot of time just running face first into walls trying to open things. Just being like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this a door? I'm not
Yup.
sure.
I did that too, for sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
found out there's a mini map in that part too.
Oh, right. I
It's
read
like-
something about that
Yeah.
there's a mini map
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
speedrun.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But I never
okay.
did it.
So like,
Oh,
you
I
can-
thought it was so useful. Oh
yeah,
my
you can
God.
if you go into like the not first person screen.
Tab
you can-
mode.
Yeah, tab mode. There's a map button, and then in that map,
There's a checkbox.
little checkbox that says mini map.
I played this game for 8
problem
fucking
is-
hours.
The problem with this game was that there was no map. End of discussion.
No. The problem is the mini map. Where would you expect it to be? In the bottom left
Oh,
corner where
shit.
every mini map is
Or the
ever.
bottom right, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. One of the bottom corners, but instead it's in like the far right corner. So it was like you know, your UI. It was like the one spot of UI that you still had left, which was like on the one hand makes sense. On the other hand, you're like as you're looking through the UI, it was always like, oh, I gotta drift my eyes all the way over there to look at the mini map, and it was also in the still grid form, but also tiny and small. So it was like it
Yeah.
was there and useful, but gangsta friends over
Yeah.
there.
I'd say the UI is definitely the clunkiest part of this game. Other than
Oh my God,
fucking weapon
obtuse.
breaks.
Okay, I
Oh,
have to say
that
though.
too.
No. I feel like the UI though
Rage
was like
face.
somewhat immersive.
No, the UI was immersive, but it was still counterintuitive as fuck.
Yeah.
It was counterintuitive, but I also like. I didn't hate it for most of the game.
I hate
I
it.
don't know. If I was a cybernetically enhanced super soldier, I would not run my brain chip on Windows 98. Just saying. Like,
Well, if it was 1999, you might have to.
and it was 2144, like this game suggests.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
would
had to
at
be
least-
Windows 3.
I would say I'd at least be using Vista.
Oh.
Like,
Well, that would probably work less well.
crash a lot.
I actually got kind of excited in those like the kind of like intro things where you're learning
Right.
about the interface for the first time. I got really excited when they had the tab mode because I thought like, oh cool, this is gonna be like a point and click mode where you have to like solve puzzles or something.
Right, that could have been cool.
And I thought that would be such a cool idea for a game where like you got this shooter action piece of it, but then if you like click out, you're like inspecting things or solving puzzles or that kind of stuff. And I guess you're hacking with it, but like I at first I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to bridge those two game types,
Right.
but it wasn't that at all.
No, you like never had to hit tab except for to
Except for
leave
to
the
open
menu.
it.
I would say,
Right.
did you guys notice that tabbing didn't pause the game either?
No,
Oh, yeah.
so it
if-
screwed me over so many
like, I'd be
times.
getting chased by an enemy. I'm like, shit, my weapon broke. I need to switch. Tab.
Shit, I'm
punch
not on
in the
cryokinesis.
Right,
I'm on
right.
tripod.
Punch in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I did think. I mean, you could see like Dead Space got that idea too, right? Where the weapon changes and the inventory is all in real time. At the same time, it was really like obtuse is going to be my word
Right.
in UI because it's like you could open up the tab, but then you couldn't. You like your
Right.
view
It
was.
appeared that it was
Yeah.
paused because you
Yeah,
couldn't
your
look
view
at
was in
it.
the exact same spot, so you could move like front and back, and that was it.
Which is funny because
And
you
left and
couldn't-
right, but you couldn't use the mouse.
But you couldn't use WASD or in the actual
Tab
inventory
mode,
menu
yeah.
anyway. So it would have been nice if they would have like locked your vision, but you could have kept moving.
Yeah, you could.
You couldn't turn. You could just go back and forth though. You couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I said.
you couldn't move anywhere. So it's like,
You
yeah,
could move
unless
back and
it's,
forth.
well, yeah, but like if you were stuck against a wall or something, you're like you
Yeah.
can't like try and
Jog
maneuver,
back the
you can't like try
corridor.
and sidestep while
Right.
you're trying to figure that kind of
No,
stuff.
and it seemed like there was, I don't know, it just like there was 17 clicks to do anything you wanted to do.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Like to see, like one of my biggest kind of qualms at the beginning of the game is I thought like the way that you specialized your character was really cool.
I thought
Like
that
you
was
picked the
super
branches,
innovative. I thought that
right,
was
with
That
your
was so
focus,
cool.
and then you had like your different missions that gave you the points. The problem is they didn't tell you what any of that stuff
Yes,
did.
if you listen
Yeah,
to the dialogue,
no,
they
yeah.
told you what
No,
everything
It
did.
tells you everything.
Yeah, it
The
told you
problem
really
is-
specifically
The
what they all
problem is
did.
No,
none
but
of
like-
that matters if you put all your points into being a beef tank soldier.
No, that's the lame way
No,
to
well,
play
but I like listened to everything and I read everything, but like the stats and stuff, like the strength and the
Yeah.
agility. If it told you that in the beginning, I must have missed
It
it.
did.
It did.
What?
Yeah.
I totally missed it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, because I was like,
Just
I
like
was
that book you didn't read in Cthulhu Saves the World that
Yeah.
told you what all the stats
No,
did.
I did. It's just that was at the very beginning. And, that was
Yeah.
the university, the old man.
Yeah.
Anyway, the moral of the story was it was just like it was so much information, crammed into just these small.
Well,
little
You needed a Civilopedia?
Yeah, you did need
Yeah,
a symbol.
Well, but that was derivative of A, the time that the game came out, and
Right.
B, the like RPG elements. Like it said in the history segment like that they were looking back to like Ultima and like these other like dungeon crawler games, which are full of archaic stats that you don't know exactly what they
Well,
do.
you probably would have had a manual with this game.
Yeah,
too.
that's
Probably
true.
would have
And you would
explained
have
it.
had a
I think the biggest change you could make to it is if you just streamlined it. You wouldn't have to
God.
change any of the actual systems.
I think
I
think
think
this
it's
game could be a
streamlined.
super effective remake. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
think you could
think so.
straight up and really,
HD.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we kind of talked about how BioShock is pretty similar to this, but I
That is the
like the
remake.
setting of this, like the cyberpunk like setting where it's like a rogue AI thing. Like I think that is a really cool thing. And actually, Josh, the other thing this game reminded me a lot of was Dude Sex Hot Man Revolution.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally,
For
yeah.
those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about
Oh,
Deus
God.
Ex Human Revolution.
No. There's
Or-
only
or-
one name for that game, and it's Dude Sex.
Can you just imagine Showdown being like, I'm going to take over the world now, and Adam Jensen going, I didn't ask for this.
ask for this hypo. It's full.
So I mean, it is. I was thinking about it, and
It
something
actually
else-
looks a lot like the original Deus Ex.
It does,
Since we're still in the graphics category, we haven't moved
Yeah,
on from
yeah.
graphics, so I might as well mention that.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I guess it leaves you with two options. If you want to have all that information, it's got to be like the pointy clicky with the 17 different menus, or you have to have this giant 17 hotkeys.
But I wouldn't
right?
mind having all the point click if there were hotkeys for everything, but you couldn't
Or,
find all
or
the
if it
things
paused
that
the
did.
damn game when you
Yeah,
were
that was
tab
my
mode.
thing. I think it would have been,
Okay, I really like that it doesn't pause though. I think more games should do that.
I think that's my favorite thing about
I
Dead Space.
hate games
I
where you
love
have
that in Dead Space,
Yes.
but in Dead Space, the whole menu is
Intuitive.
very intuitive. You
Right.
can be running away while flipping through your menu.
But like Bioshock Infinite, for example, that pissed me off that it just paused the game
Yeah.
when you changed stuff. It was like ruined all your immersion because it's like this wouldn't
Well, so
happen in real
I
life.
like in Saints Row when you're switching weapons because every time it brings up that really clunky weapon wheel.
Yeah.
At least it goes into slow-mo. It doesn't like fully pause the game,
Yeah.
but it slows
Right, that's
down.
not bad, but I don't know. I want to change my crap in real time. If you can't
Yeah.
plan ahead, then you shouldn't be
I
playing.
don't know.
the game,
I think
Josh.
Says the speedrun.
Do you have to play ahead in Theocalypse? No. Everything's paused. It's turn-based RPG.
No immersion.
It's,
0 out of
it's
10.
literally
No
as,
immersion.
it's literally as paused as it could humanly be, and still
Except
be
for
a
just
game.
not, you just turn it on, then you leave because it's paused. You can't even get the next
They have
stuff.
that game. It's called EVE Online.
Ha!
All right, so Evan, we've kind
Let's
of already
see
talked
mine.
about some of the RPG elements with stats and stuff, but do you want to talk about some of the gameplay systems and how they tried to do RPG stuff in this?
I'll lead you in. What does RPG stand for?
Rocket
Propelled Grenade. Correct.
Role-playing game.
Rocket propelled grenade.
Yeah.
Rocket
God
propelled
boss.
game.
Combat dogs.
Raccoon, porcupine, gremlin.
Rat shadows.
That's not
Okay.
FOV slider.
Alright,
Anyway,
go ahead.
Evan, do you want to talk?
Kinda.
Go to sleep.
Well, I actually had a lot of trouble with this game. I think one of the biggest things is as I turned my mic off for a split second.
So, that's all right. This is obviously the first go we're having at this. There's going to be some technical
Some
hiccups.
glitches.
But
Anyways,
My phone's gonna fall behind the couch at least 30 times.
Would you put it in front of you?
just
Thank
put
you.
it away. Okay, Evan, go ahead.
so I actually had a lot of trouble with this game. Holy shit.
Sorry, I was just putting it down.
I realized about 2 hours into the game that I completely missed the ability to hack.
Got no points in it.
Yeah, I had no points. I didn't have level 1 hack, and I was
Especially because that threw me off and I had to restart because you get those first 4 points.
Right, where you
And
can
then
spend
you-
on stats and
Yeah,
learn
you can
everything.
spend on stats.
Yes.
And if you don't wait and save those 4 points because she says something, oh, you might want to save these, and you're supposed to because then she gives you 4 more and you have 8 and you can buy level 1 hack.
Right.
I was gonna say,
And
But
you're
was
this
supposed
is
to
the
go back.
demo.
But that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, if you want to have minimal trouble
you
with
didn't
those just
have to
roadblocks.
hack though, did you?
Oh,
I
they
don't
made
think
your
there are
life
any
so
doors.
much
Made it
easier.
so-
Yeah, it gave you so many
Right,
items that
but
you wouldn't
like,
really have in all
I
of this
know
stuff.
in my playthrough, again, I went pure beef tank. I just put it all into like strength and the ability to melee the
Are you
shit
sure you
out of
weren't playing
everything.
Call of Duty and just thinking you were playing PlayStation
Call of
too?
Wrench Duty.
Oh,
Call of Duty
anyway,
Wrench.
Evan, keep
Yeah.
going. But I wanted to say that it's easy to miss that because it
Yeah.
intentionally wants you.
Yep.
to miss
Yeah,
it.
so I upgraded my stats at the beginning of the game, not really realizing that I needed hacks. So then I was just running around trying to like hack everything and like trying to repair things. It was like, you don't have this. You need level 1. You need level 2. I hated that. Also, early on in the game, there was like level 3 hacking.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the second area of the game, it was like you need to hack level 3 to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
They
I
want you
just-
probably to go back
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Give game developers a tip: if you don't want your player doing something in the beginning of the game, either come out and say you shouldn't do this, or don't give them the option.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like it's like
Like in Theocalypse, where
no, like actually, but in the old Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game, there's an item in the
What?
first room. Yeah, no,
Played
no,
that.
a lot of people.
No one.
It's like Zork.
It's like that Space Jam on NES.
There's an item in the first room that's like not explicitly stated, and if you don't take it with you, you cannot beat the game. It's like at the end, it requires you to have it.
That's really silly.
Now, again, this game was designed to be like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, really strange and inane. So like it was kind of like a laughing matter, unless you really wanted to beat the game.
Fair enough.
But like in this one, I feel like there should have been like a big warning sign, like saying like, "Yo, dumbass, don't spend
Right.
your
Or
points."
say, this is where you can upgrade.
Yeah.
When you have points, we'll give you some soon.
Right.
Right.
You're going
Yeah.
to need like a big disclaimer saying you'll need hacking skills. Wait for them.
Right. Or just like suggest that you. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Or
It's
like
dumb.
what also bothered me is like in the first like you start with that like first stats thing you can upgrade whatever, and then you like would get cyber modules, which was your upgrade currency, from completing objectives, which didn't make a lot of sense because if the lady was like really trying to help you succeed,
She
why
gave
didn't she
you
just
all.
give you
Well,
100?
I was thinking that until I heard her say they're very hard to find.
Yeah,
And
so
she
that-
says one time, and I'm like, oh, so you're
Yeah.
just like doing like a
So that's
scavenger hunt
that's
of-
like Ken Levine going through the script and being like, oh guys, we gotta find a loophole for this. Somebody
Yeah.
throw that in one of her.
She's
minds.
doing like a Where's Waldo, and every time she finds Waldo, she gets the cyber module.
So that was the first
She's
thing.
just Bitcoin mining.
That's
it
right.
for a long
Yes.
time.
So, but the
Found
second
the random hash.
The second thing was that they would give you like the first upgrade zone you get is in like bioscience or something like that, and they're all together.
Yeah.
Evan, what's
Did you?
I just realized my mic cord says God bless America.
God bless.
Yeah, America.
America.
Okay, I'm gonna continue in my point. So like the first one, you get this like big open room. There's a couple levels, and there's like
Jordan, did you know your mic's directional?
Shut up! Guys, look at me. Anyway, so it was like it was there's like this big kind of 2-level room, and all your upgrade nodes were in basically the same spot. I was like, okay, but then they stopped doing that. Like, and then you'd have like a couple upgrade places.
Right, and there'd be like small terminals
Right.
that
And
got
so
harder and harder
I
to
would like
find.
put there and I'm like, is this suggesting that I should get some psionic points right now because there's a psionic upgrade
Yeah,
right there? Or
yeah.
do I have to play the let's backtrack 20
Right,
goddamn
right.
minutes to go back, which I did with the freaking research already. I was like, should I go backtrack to that one room that I kind of remember and upgrade my points, or will there be one in a few rooms?
Well, I love that when you get to the chemical storage room the first time, she's like, but don't grab all the chemicals, you're obviously going to backtrack back here later.
Well, it wasn't like, I mean, we could talk about this with the research, but
Right, we haven't talked about it, but-
backtracking was really, like, on the one hand, I thought it was cool to make it seem like this was a ship where
There were some like
people
non-linear
would-
aspects that
right,
were cool.
right, where
Yeah.
you would like, if you were really trying to survive on the ship, you wouldn't just like progress one room to another, a la Dead Space, but you
Final
really,
Fantasy 13.
yeah, or something like that, right? But you'd like you'd backtrack, and you have to go to find other things, and yeah, subtle. But
Yeah,
it's like, but the backtracking was just. It was annoying
funny.
after a point,
Thanks.
It's like, what does it really add to anything? Especially because it'd be like, you go and then they'd like spawn one more enemy down there or something like that. It's just like, what did it really add?
Well, and that was the thing I didn't understand. Like in Dead Space, they come out of the vents and shit, so it's like, all
Right,
right, new
right.
enemies. But I'm like, I have murdered everything in a 1-mile radius. I'm covered in blood. My wrench is dented. I'm like, who else wants something? There's no one around. I leave the room. I come back in. There's a guy like, what's up, buddy? And I'm like, nope. Wrench, face, where did you come from?
Yeah, or like when the alarm
Yeah.
went off.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
The
God.
first time that happened to me, I was like, okay, this is a Bioshock game. Like in Bioshock 1, the alarms would go off and send the little minions at you. The alarm would go for a little bit. You could hack a minion to
No.
fight. Yeah, no, the alarms are like 2 minutes.
And like 30 enemies come
Oh god!
from
And, like,
all angles.
the first time it happened in like the med bay area, there was like first room where
Did you
first
even know it was a
Xerxes.
camera though?
No, I don't know.
You just started like pew pew pew, and you're
Right.
like,
And so I'm like sitting there, and I'm like standing in this circular room where you first
Showed
see
up.
like the Xerxes thing for the first time, and I'm watching the enemies spawn at the door. Like, and I'm like, if I move any closer, like I'm like, okay, are they gonna not spawn there? Is there like a detection radius? But I'm just like, all I want to do is just stand there and wait for the alarm to go away. The best part was because there's so much text, they just bombard you with information. I didn't know, or I'd forgotten that you could just push the security panels to make the alarm stop. And so I'm literally standing there watching enemies spawn at me while there's a security panel literally right next to me.
Well, I had a glitch in that room, in fact. So
Oh, dear.
I turned it off. I killed all
Was it
the
not
enemies.
speed running? Not speed
Yeah,
running.
it's not the right glitch.
It was a slow running glitch.
I ended it, right? So, all the enemies are dead, the alarm's off, but the sound is still playing. The alarm is still
Oh,
going off,
God.
and that, that techno music, it's still going.
Don't worry, I have a
the
roll
whole-
for that later.
It's still going the whole time. And I get really confused because I'm still playing, and 15 minutes later, the music is still going. I'm like, is there just like an enemy stuck in the wall that's preventing the music from ending?
Right.
I get through like 2 loading screens, right? I'm at the next section. It's still freaking going. And I'm just like, I can't tell if I'm under attack or I just got the
Right.
song stuck in my head at this point. Like,
Yeah.
well, which one was it?
no, I wound up having to save and quit out and
Right.
reload. And then
Okay.
it was gone. It was
Right.
like,
Okay.
Oh, that's
There's
awesome.
fun.
I mean, in terms of the RPG elements, I was kind of disappointed because I thought it was really cool that you had all these skills and you had like the stats that were useful. I wish more shooters would do that because I think.
Oh,
it's
you weren't
yeah.
disappointed about this. You were just disappointed because you thought it was cool.
No, I'm
I think
disappointed
it's
in
that
this.
it didn't do enough.
Or it was just like it was
I'm
both too
confused.
much and not enough.
Really?
at the
See, I
same
thought it was so
time.
Yeah.
cool that you just had so much that you could do.
Well,
It was like you had so much you could do, but it was like this wasn't like you could walk in and it wasn't like the beginning made me kind of get this idea that you could really choose to go like this psychic soldier, but really you just kind of had to take what you could get survival horror as and roll with it.
and I disagree. And to me, it
Well,
was.
you played Wrench.
Well, to me, it was
That doesn't-
wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle, where there's all these stats you can choose
yeah,
from,
that's a good.
but to break them was so easy. And I think of this compared to something like Path of Exile, right, where you've got like, or any of the Guild Wars games.
New RPGs that
Right.
no one's heard of.
People have heard Path
I
of
know
Exile.
it. It's
Or-
just Diablo.
Right, or like Guild Wars 1 and 2, where like you have all these skills to choose from, and you can, individually they're kind of but you can make these really cool builds that kind of expound upon them. Whereas in this, I was like, let's put points into strength. And then, 4 upgrade stations later, oh, what's that? You're one of the tougher enemies in the game? Bonk!
That was a really incorrect reenactment. You mean...
for those of you listening, not watching, really slow wrench attack. But
Slowest death animation.
I did like having like slow-mo, like underwater looking battles with the enemies, like, especially the melee enemies, because they would swing and it was so slow and telegraphed.
Which will get there first.
So you would like back up and then like use your slow wrench attack.
My favorite was the hybrids that used the shotgun because they didn't really have like a 3D like pointing it at you.
And
they just kind of shot it in a corner, and sometimes it hit you, and sometimes.
But they held it sideways because they were real gangs.
I would say the sound they make when you shot them really reminded me of that Serious Sam sound effect too.
Yeah.
It's like really similar.
I don't even need it on my soundboard because that's exactly what it sounds like.
But to me, it was kind of like you had all these choices, but realistically, you were going to go either full strength, full psionic, or full hacking. Like
at least the first time you
played.
Again,
I guess
it was something that if you like walked in knowing what you were doing.
If you really knew what you were doing and knew all the locations, I guess you could build a hybrid class. But there wasn't really a point to it, and it was again kind of lots of choice, no depth.
But maybe that was kind of the point. Maybe they wanted you to be able to like feel like you had a lot of choice, but still get through the game
about the
without
nature
screwing
and
yourself
futility
over.
of man.
Oh god, no! I also
This
was
reminds
funny.
me of the deep themes in Theocalypse.
That's right. If you haven't looked at our Kickstarter yet, give me.
No, but I thought it was like kind of what would be really typical of the way that this like.
It's called
this
the
whole-
Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Well, the way this
Can we have the
whole
Theocalypse Rift? Is that going to
Absolutely.
Okay.
well, that would be weird.
The
Okay, anyway, so
Oculus
to keep us on point, I thought like the was very kind of typical of the way that I felt about this whole system is I got an energy weapon for the first time, right? And I'm like
The plasma pistol.
Yeah, the plasma
Yeah.
pistol.
I was just thinking Halo.
I know. I was like, whatever, the
You're
energy
right.
pistol.
Am I right?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
plasma pistol.
I mean,
Out
am
of,
I
out
right?
of, XCOM or something like that, right? The energy pistol, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, and then can't use it, and so part of me is like, I have a psionic super thing built into my brain. I'm pretty sure I can figure this out. At the same time, I was like, okay, but this is the 90s. We're doing the stat thing. Okay, so I go and then I finally find a upgrade node that lets you get your weapon proficiencies. And I'm like, I'm putting one of those suckers in energy because I want to use this energy pistol and it'll be awesome. I get it and it has no energy, so I'm like,
Well, duh.
Okay.
You gotta charge your batteries.
yeah. So I gotta go dig through another because there's only been like one charge point at this point.
The
So-
one you had to get through for the story where the two turrets.
And they were all
pop out.
European outlets and
Yeah, so I backtracked all the way over there and I finally charged my pistol. I'm like, okay, I went through a lot of work to get this weapon working at this point in the game, right? This should be awesome. And then I shoot it and like literally I didn't have a gun that did less damage. I'm like, it's like, pew, and I'm like popping like 4, 5, 6 shots to kill one of just the Blake hybrid things. And I'm like, I went through all that work to do nothing. I didn't
And what I like-
wrench that guy. It would've been
And what I
awesome.
like about this is, Jordan put all these points into psionics. He's like Sir.
Well, I didn't do any psionics.
He's like,
I was like, screw that.
He's like Sir Archibald Einstein, right? Really intelligent hacker.
Just to get
and he's looking at this pistol and he's like, I can't figure it out. And my guy's like John McBeefington, right? Who's
With his wrench,
right?
yeah.
With his wrench, with like 70 IQ points, but all my points have either gone into strength or weapon proficiency. So Jordan's guy's looking at this and he's like, I wonder how the nuclear drive passes. My guy's like, sweet trigger, I pull it and things die.
Yeah. I mean, I went to tech class because I thought that'd be the most fun. I was like, didn't want to do with psionics, and I like when that, but that was
That's
like
what I
so,
did too.
like I got the modify and all those kind of skills, but it just kind of seemed like, I don't know.
Why? Like, why?
Like, yeah, you
The
could
tech
do it,
stuff-
but why?
The tech stuff, other than hacking, was completely useless.
Well,
like hacking,
yeah.
hacking got me a lot of like really cool items, and I could turn off the security systems, which was really nice because basically I would like turn it off and then go kill all the cameras and
Right.
never have to worry about security again.
Right.
Like
Well-
it was kind of cool for some of that stuff, but pretty much other than hacking, being a tech person was useless.
Especially when you get to the hive, like
Right.
Yeah.
the hive
It's all
communion,
wasted.
quote quote, right? Communion, blah, bad
Whatever,
grammar.
yeah.
Communion. But like when you get there, it's all organic shit, and there's tons of enemies. So it's like you're not
Whole
gonna
Foods.
right. It's not whole food. You're not gonna hack this guy's liver unless it's with your wrench. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're
quinoa.
beefy
Right, or your
McBeefington.
quinoa. Or especially when you get to the end of the game, right? When you're like half in cyberspace, half out, and you're fighting Shodan in like these horribly designed corridors. They're just enemies streaming at you from everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, I couldn't imagine playing through it not as a beef tank, because there's tons of enemies, and you're wasting ammo, and your guns are breaking, and I'm sitting back thinking, man, if I had picked tech, I would be fucked.
Especially because unlike Deus Ex,
Tune into Theocalypse where no one can be anything but a beefsteak.
I like how Skylar's shilling my game more than
I think he feels bad because your Kickstarter actually did come out.
Yeah.
So
I have to make up for all
I
of it.
appreciate it.
Well, did it really?
You donated to it.
It wasn't me.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, one of the things about, like, other than Deus Ex where the boss fights were weird, for the most part, they had specific ways where it was like, if you're the combat guy, you can kill these people.
But see, that
if
felt
there's
really
not-
linear.
Yes, but it was linear with lots of branching paths
Right.
that all came back to the same place. But it was intentionally set up to be like, if you're the tech person, you can do this and then do that and then do this, and it gets you around the enemies that you don't have to fight. Or if you're a stealth person, you can sneak in here and go here.
See, that's why I like this though, because this was more like you just have to figure it out no matter
Well,
what you pick.
Yeah,
Kind of, but
except for places like Josh was talking about in the
in the end, there's nothing to
where
hack.
there's
It's a
no
straight
opposite
run and
way
gun.
to go. Yeah.
And I'll kind of compare that to the first Bioshock, right? Like, I've played through the first Bioshock like 4 or 5 times, and each time I try and do it differently. One time I went just wrench, right? Where, hey, wrench. Where,
That's
you know,
basically how I play
right,
Bioshock.
you just basically just, pick the perks that make you beefy as hell and you're up and hit things. Or one time I tried to be pure minion master. So I'd grab, anything,
Possession.
any plasmids that would let me possess things, or especially in, Bioshock 1, where you could use the security hack plasmids and you could just get like an army of those little flying miniguns to follow you.
Right.
Like, and I would just let them kill everything and hide in a corner. Or, you could play pure elemental.
Did you hide in the speedrun corner?
Absolutely.
Nice job, nice segue.
But like,
Nice.
Segue.
Speaking of speed runs.
right.
Nice reference, I mean. All right.
But I felt like, in Bioshock 1 and 2, you could really do that. And in this one, you could do that until the game said, ha ha ha, fuck you.
Yeah, I actually read a lot. Like, I don't usually try to go for...
You're trying to usually do
George
research, but
doesn't
this
actually-
time...
No. Like with some of these older games, like Legacy of Kain was another one. As a kid, I totally would have got stuck once and to the internet, for those
There
notepad
wasn't
text,
the internet
What
when we were
internet?
kids.
Anyway, so in this game, I just even though I knew I could probably get through it, I was just kind of curious. I was like, what does a walkthrough look like this? If I wanted to play this on hard, right? What would it really take? And there was a lot of disclaimers in the walkthroughs I was reading where it's by this point, by the end of this level, you need to make sure you have enough points in this, or you have this kind of thing, because without it, X part down the line is just going to be extremely difficult. There are these it is weird because they give you so many options, but it did seem there was a very specific path you wanted to do, unless you wanted to make yourself A, really miserable, or B, you would already play the game 3 times.
Or
so
you
you had a
speed
bunch
running.
of these, or you speed you had these things memorized, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so you knew what to expect and enemies where, and then you could play what you want because you knew what to expect. But in the first playthrough, it just seemed throw your points at a wall and hope to God it works.
Yeah.
See, I just
Yeah,
wonder what
definitely.
it would have been like if there was a manual. I wonder if
That's
the
true, I
manual
wonder.
went into detail about that. But obviously, none of us.
Look up the manual and tell us about it on our Facebook.
Steam.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/5on5 gaming podcast.
The other thing I
Sponsored
noticed
by Coca-Cola.
is this game kind of had actually hitboxes ahead of their time, which let me Half-Life cheese it. So if you don't know, in Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, when the zombies swing, they don't hit actually what's in front of them. There's actually a hitbox for it, so you can duck their blows.
Yeah.
So one of the ways around the super slow wrenching is you can duck a lot of any melee enemies' hits if you duck at the right time. So you just sit there super slow wrenching and just pressing control at the right time to crouch. And you can avoid taking any damage
It's
that
actually
way.
pretty solid.
Yeah. So Jordan, we kind of talked about hacking, but do you want to talk about the research part of it?
Sure, I'll just kind of hit both. I mean, the hacking was...
We'll repeat it anyway.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
the only
I'm
thing I'll-
totally kidding.
The thing I'll say about the hacking was, it seems through playing Bioshock 1 and this game, that they seem to can't figure out a good hacking minigame that's not super in depth, right? But is not super stupidly easy.
This hacking minigame I felt was really
It was what?
really boring.
Like,
it
you-
was,
Wait, did it ever get harder than just clicking
No, you
three
all
nodes?
you did is you
randomly.
got, because I went the hacking text,
Right,
you know,
right.
it would make them easier so there'd be less bad nodes and it would cost you less to do it, but at the end of the day, you're click
There
and
was-
hope you get 3.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
no puzzle
It felt like a
solving. There was
crapshoot.
no at least in Bioshock, you have that
Racing against
kind of like
time.
where's my water type thing where you're like
Yeah, the pipe
or,
game, right?
yeah, like the pipe game where you're trying to like go faster than it, and it's like even though that's not very deep, it still feels tense because you're trying to do something that takes puzzle solving or whatever.
Especially higher levels too.
Yeah, but this it was just like click all the 3 node lines, and if none of them were right, you
Hit
just
reset
reset it and
pay
try
for
again.
it again.
Right.
Yeah, but it wasn't like you couldn't plan ahead and like click the right ones
Right.
to
Right.
make it easy.
Yeah,
Like
it
there
seemed
was no
It was
puzzle solving
fast,
to it.
which is kind of cool because
Yeah.
a lot of hacking mini games get like really drawn out
Yeah,
and
that's
slow.
true.
But it could have been more interesting.
It,
than
it
was.
seemed like on the design doc they're like, all right, we're gonna have a hacking mini game, and it's gotta be fast, right, not drawn out, and
Yeah.
something the player won't necessarily cheese or get tired of. And then like it got almost done with the game, like, oh shit, Frank, you never did the hacking mini game. I'm like, dude, we'll just have them click through.
Dude, they
dots
already
and-
click a ton of times. They'll love
Right.
clicking.
Yeah.
Frank has a terrible gambling addiction and he can't get
Yeah.
away from the slot
Right,
machines.
right.
He's like,
It needs to be possible
No,
for them to just fail.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, okay, we need to have it failable and also passable, but without having to change basically anything.
Right.
So it's just like, dude, what if sometimes they click it and it doesn't work?
You just can't do it.
What if we just write an RNG?
Yeah, yeah.
thing?
So that was
I just want a button that I click and it just says fail or pass.
That's essentially what
that,
it
that
was.
really was
Right.
like you had no incentive to click the.
And your hacking skill didn't affect it.
Well, it was supposedly made it easier, like on the
Like you
percentage.
got less.
Yeah, Josh.
You had a better chance of having
Learn
a
to
lot of
hack.
good
You
nodes.
beat-
Well, but it
But
still
here's
felt
the
like
thing: it wasn't like it was all just like in the chance that it was going to go more successfully. It wasn't like a physical, actual thing that getting the next level of hack
Right.
aside from being able to do
Or like they didn't give you more branches. or
Right.
give you,
right, but in like
games.
Bioshock, the better you are at hacking, the more hacking perks you had, the slower the water moved.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So there
this,
was
it
nothing
just like-
tangible like that.
Yeah.
So I just have a side note. As I looked up the manual, and it looks pretty in depth,
Massive.
i.e.,
I'm sure,
64 pages.
Oh
Wow.
dear.
It
snap.
has sections about like every technical skill.
Yeah.
It has sections about all the upgrades, every single side power, character generation, skills, useful items, which has like 6 subsections.
I
Wow.
came here to play
Yeah.
a game, not to read.
Yeah, seriously. So it looks like it probably
Yeah.
would have helped.
No,
like,
yeah,
I like how that was in character of your Beefcake character, Josh.
No, I think this has to do with a lot of old games.
Yeah.
No, I
A
agree.
lot of
And we've
old
talked
games
about this
was-
before,
Yeah,
for
I was
sure.
gonna say
Yeah.
We talked about this with XCOM.
It's
Am I the
manual
only one who
based.
misses manuals?
I do because they look so cool.
I would say I always used to buy a game and then on the ride home when my mom would be driving
Yes!
home, I'd
Yeah,
read them in
we
the
had
car and
this
get myself
conversation.
Then you read the back of the box, open it, and find like it's proprietary information.
Right,
You're like,
no,
great!
it's just
Copyright
like
laws.
it's just like a Club Nintendo thing. It's
Right.
like, join Club Nintendo. I'm like, thanks.
Well, we had this conversation in XCOM.
I know,
one of our-
yeah.
I
we
mean, I
also had
think
this conversation on Josh's podcast that never went.
What
to
podcast?
episode.
Is it called
we
The
had, we
Oculus?
had 3. We had 3.
No, we had 2.
2.
I got bored with
2
it.
episodes.
It was too
Moral
much.
It's not a surprise. Josh got bored with something.
which won't happen on his Kickstarter, Theoculus.
That's right.
Anyway.
That should have been one of your challenges at the bottom. Josh gets bored with stuff really fast, so we might just leave mid
That's why your mom
development.
out.
That's one of the stretch
No.
goals. Even if you have $1 million, Josh promises he won't get bored.
That's only a stretch goal,
I'll
though.
take you out on a really nice seafood dinner and never call you again.
Alright, so anyway, talking about the research very briefly, I thought that could have been, again, it felt like something that...
Bury him.
Hey, Skylar, what do you do with a dead scientist?
You bury him.
Bury him. No, you yttry him. I don't know.
Anyways, I thought that was kind of cool that like you would find the random things and that you had to like research them and add the chemicals. It just felt like as Josh always says, you could, but why? Like I did the first thing, like I got the like the hybrid tissue, and you just researched it. It was like gave me plus 25% damage to hybrid tissues.
Why can't I
And
just take pictures of my enemies?
Well, here's the thing.
Right, Bioshock.
Like, well, it was like, and it was like, they're actually very weak to anti-personnel rounds. I was like, really? Really? Game, you're really gonna tell me
Wow.
that? And then I got to the monkeys, and I had to backtrack and
the
play
Hadoken monkeys.
the research game, and then it's like, you do 25% more damage to monkeys, and guess what?
Hadouken
They
monkeys.
are
There's a
immune,
difference.
or they take extra damage from anti-personnel
They
rounds.
take extra damage from bananas.
Here's something I never understand in game developers. Yes, a person's going to take more
Now that
damage.
Josh has
long.
a Kickstarter,
Wait,
so
wait, wait.
talk to all
Wait.
game developers.
I would
simultaneously.
address them anyways if I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
If somebody's
yeah.
going to take damage from anti-personnel rounds, they're gonna take just as much, if not more, damage from like armor-piercing rounds,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
if I shoot Jordan right now and he's like, "Ow," and then I shoot Jordan
We
with
have a camera. Let's turn
Right.
the camera off.
Yeah.
and then I shoot Jordan with like an anti-tank rifle, right?
I think that's
blow
no.
a hole through it.
But armor-piercing rounds and anti-personnel rounds are really different.
They are.
Well,
Like that's not
on
a true statement
on
at
a
all.
human, they're gonna have
Right,
a
right.
Yeah, but I would say,
definitely
I would say,
effect.
in a lot of situations, what's the difference?
Right. The
Let's
difference
find
is
out.
totally negligible, right?
Cut to
Like,
the MythBusters episode.
Yeah, except that we also are not living in a world where a wrench is going to do 4 times as much
Right.
damage as a pistol.
Yeah.
Don't
If
you
you
tell
hit
that to
anyone
Sir
with the
Beaver
wrench
Dad,
twice, they'll be dead.
Yeah, that was also what I found strange. Is I wanted to save bullets, so I used the wrench whenever possible. At which point I realized
The
I
wrench
could
is
just
kind of just better anyway.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yes.
had like a couple points in
Unless you need
strength
to
or
shoot
something.
turrets or shoot like a camera. Or
Oh,
something.
you could, if you got lucky, you could kill the cameras with the wrench, and then the turrets.
And
I
then you
realized
actually
you
dash
just
really
run
fast.
around that shit.
Yeah.
Like the turret
Yeah.
actually had to point at you, so you just
True.
got close enough to it, and then just played the ring around that, and then
Yeah.
you reverse direction.
Yeah.
It would take like a second to actually start shooting you. So if you got to a corner, you're just like, hey, we're turning back around, and we're hitting the thing, and it just felt like this.
Jordan,
here
too
I-
fast, too fast.
Yeah.
Well, it was really fun too if you had hybrids chasing you at the same time. Because
So it
the
would shoot
turret would
them,
be
yeah.
shooting and it would be killing the hybrids as you were spinning around it, slapping it.
That was
It
always
just-
my favorite thing to do in Bioshock was
Yeah.
hack the turrets and then
Yeah.
have them shoot the enemies.
It just felt kind of silly. It's like, here I am, cyber soldier, expertise in hacking and weapon modification.
Ooh,
I'm on a
wrench.
faster than light, speed ship millions, trillions of miles away from the Earth, and I am hitting a turret with a minigun with my wrench.
Well, I would say, like, Sir Beefington was dumb as hell, but he could still do the research, and I just felt like, I was kind of getting into it, role-playing it a little bit. I'm like, oh, I Sir Beefington, ooh, mutant flesh, and now I will add all these different elements.
Yeah, and
Carefully
now I
fine-tune them.
need
I will
3
carefully
parts,
use the
3
instrument.
parts. I need 3 parts barium and some sodium, and I better go track that, and get, it was like cool, but why?
What's the chemical formula for barium again?
Right, and I just felt like,
That's what Sir Beefcake would say.
well, that's right, but apparently he could, put on his thinking cap and do it.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
his
like,
lab coat.
well, and I would understand that if it was like, even in Fallout, right, where you've got like a VAT system or something more turn-based, kind of, if you needed to do the
Just so you can pause the game and ruin your
but
immersion
to do
more.
like the extra damage, right, where it
Yeah.
felt, or if I had numbers coming off of them, so
Right.
I could see like a marked increase in my damage. But I just go, so it took me 4 slaps instead of 5 on my wrench. Like,
I mean,
it didn't feel like a huge difference.
I think
to me.
Skylar was joking about it, but I think Bioshock, like the camera thing, was a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Because it like
No, I agree.
encouraged,
I actually.
encouraged you like take a risk. Oh, and then you got a couple things in one shot that was a bonus, right? And like you could still get like points from capturing dead things, but it wasn't. It just was like all this. I thought the research thing was cool, so I went and did all the backtracking and stuff. And it was like the flavor text about things was cool, but it was just like so much effort that didn't feel rewarding
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, like you said,
More
you
isn't
could, but why?
rewarding.
You could,
Right.
you could. There's so many you coulds, but why?
Why? What's the next topic?
Yeah.
Well, we have Josh talking about story and gameplay, or story and atmosphere. We've already talked a lot about like the story,
We're talking about
and
story.
how it connects to other
But
games.
you started to talk about whether it's scary.
Can we talk about Shodan for a minute, though?
Yeah, go
like,
for it.
Go for it.
I kind of want everyone to chime in here on what you thought about Shodan, but I loved her as a villain. Like, because she's not GLaDOS. She's not like the, ooh, I'm mocking you, you're fat, your parents hated you, etc.
You're adopted.
Right, yeah, but like, she's actually like,
Send your hate mail to Jordan
Because I'm
Coulter.
a
Yeah.
potato.
right, things that never happened to me before I knew. But like, I felt like Shodan was actually a really strong villain, because the whole time she's helping you, she's creepy. And
I'm
she's like-
helping.
Right. Like with GLaDOS in the second one, where again everybody should know this by now, but minor spoiler alert.
Josh?
Well,
This is the Josh spoils all
Don't
No,
worry,
but
Snape
I-
kills-
I'm just
Snape
saying-
kills Dumbledore at the end of Portal 2.
Right. But like you team up with GLaDOS pretty soon in the game.
I mean, team
It's like-
up is a loose way.
Yeah,
to
you
describe-
babysit GLaDOS pretty
Yeah,
soon
Right.
into the
Okay,
game.
you babysit GLaDOS like 10 minutes in. It's pretty soon in.
It's like
It's
the
pretty
You,
soon.
Second,
you
third of-
stick her potato on your portal gun.
like no, well, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not that soon. I
It's
was
like
gonna
a
have
third.
to
It's
go
like
Jordan
the
here.
at the end of the
Yeah.
first
No,
third.
not wait,
2/3.
2/3.
No, at the end of the
A
first
third.
third, you lose her as a potato, and then
Yeah.
like halfway through, basically halfway through the game is when you actually find her.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But
Right.
the point is like GLaDOS kind of begrudgingly helps you, and like, but it's clear that there's like some camaraderie there, kind of. and
It's
it becomes
cute.
more. Yeah, it's cutesy. With Shodan, I'm like,
Aw.
she's helping me out, and she's actively being much more useful than GLaDOS ever was. But the whole time, I'm like, oh god, she's gonna murder me. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Like,
Yeah.
I never felt safe with Shodan helping out, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh hey, I'm here to open the door for you, or do something actually nice and useful to you. But I'm gonna make you feel really uncomfortable while I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I think that the voice was a really big part of that. Like I
Mhm,
thought the
definitely.
voice acting was really good, and I felt like
Yeah.
the modulation and like I talked about before, I think the sound design was the best thing about this game. And like part of that unsettling feeling, that creepy feeling, like the thing that scared me the most in the game was that kind of stuff where like voice would pop up and it would be like I just want you to be safe.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it would be like
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
like modulation.
And I think
and-
really that's
yeah.
what makes horror games in general. Like sound design is probably
Yeah,
the most
absolutely.
important thing.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
games.
I agree.
And Shodan had like 3 or 4 voice actors. There was definitely like 1 or 2 male voices, and then like the central female voice.
Yeah, and they were all modulated.
And they all
together.
talk at the same time, but at a slightly different pace.
Yeah,
Right.
it was really
Though-
unsettling.
While I thought the sound design overall was really good, the voice acting on the text logs was awful.
Yeah, no, that was the part that was, yeah.
That was like one of the jokes I wanted to use for Evan was like Evan was the guy who just randomly found people on the street like, hey, you want to do some voice acting in this game? Like I mean the
Can you
main
read?
the
You're
Jan-
fired.
Dr.
Yeah, sad
Janice
card? No,
whatever.
great.
I mean she was cheesy, but that was okay. But like some of them were just like God awful.
Today, I was running tests on the vroom vroom.
Yeah, or like there was one. My favorite was like a lady who just like saw somebody murdered, and she's just like, and then I saw a cyborg just came up and shot Jim through the chest. Okay, Marie, get it together. And so I'm gonna go. And
I
she
know that
said
exact
yeah,
one. She's like, I'm trying not to panic, and I think I'm doing okay.
yeah, I'm gonna go hide in this spot. Yeah,
Unless if
it'll
you
be
take
safe
the
there.
meta idea that her brain was already twisted, and that's why her affect was so
Yeah.
Whoa!
Meta.
Blaze it.
I'm so meta. I'm so meta, even this acronym.
Anyway, so you know, I thought the sound design was all around very
Yeah.
good. I wish there'd been more like just overall ambience, like in Dead Space. You know, when you're rolling
Yeah,
around,
yeah, yeah.
like you can hear stuff rattling around in the vents or like that wrench drop from far away. I mean,
Yeah.
that scared the shit out of me. Whether it was 2 hours into the game or 11, you know, that rattle, because you're like. Even though you know it's just a random sound that just cues at random points, right? I think they could have used a little more of that.
I think the real problem though with the atmosphere that made it not
So
scary.
light flickering.
Yeah, there was like a light that
Right when you were saying that, I was like,
That was probably like my mom, like, are they still there? Oh, this light, yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, since we're going on to atmosphere, I'm sorry to steal
Atmosphere or real
all
thing.
your talking away from you. But I think another thing that made this game not scary, like the sound design was definitely good and somewhat scary, but it could have been better, was that just old lighting just isn't that scary.
Yeah.
And like the fact that it's just like
texture packs,
light
get
or
them.
a little darker or dark,
Pitch black
really
or
dark, yeah, it's like
completely
not
pitch black.
scary. Like the lighting in current games where like you can see the dark corners, it gets like there are places where you
Right.
can't see, but it works.
Yeah.
Like they can't just make you not see in this game
Yeah.
because you would just run into walls.
Right.
Well, and I think more than anything, that's where you see the benefit of modern graphics. Is
Yeah.
like, you know, Dead Space 3, like there's a lot of creepy, weird, gory stuff that's really amped up by the graphics, and all that stuff has some effect on the atmosphere, but more than anything else, it's the way that they can do lighting. It's the way
Yeah.
that they can, like, put shadows on stuff
Right.
and, like, totally,
Right.
yeah.
And honestly, I even think if we had these old textures but modern lighting, it would still
Oh
work.
my God,
Well,
it'd be so much better.
Yeah.
And
And it would, and all the faces wouldn't be lit up, so you wouldn't see
Right.
their
Right, it wouldn't matter.
and building on
It's
what
like the
Jordan
ring.
was saying though, like the random sound effects would have been huge. And one of the things
Yeah.
I noticed is when you go in and there are enemies in a room or area and you haven't found them yet, they have those sound effects. It's,
Right.
it's a creepy, you know,
Yeah.
and,
Right.
But that's- right.
hate our lives.
Right, but the second you clear an area and that sweet, you know, techno
Right.
music stops, all other sound effects stop too. So I was like, wait, because the second I was like, oh, the music's over, I am safe.
Right,
Yeah.
now it's look around for crap time.
Right, but in like Dead
Yeah.
Space, they did a really good job of making sure that enemies would sometimes be randomized and popped
Right.
out, or those sounds and lighting issues would continue. even after.
Right, even when there was
Well-
that's the beauty of like modern horror games
Right.
in general. It's just that there's always the anticipation
Well,
of horror.
I think part of that too was, and I thought about this when I was playing this game and in Dead Space. Like in Dead Space, you could not only hear when enemies were around, but they do those cheeky things where you like turn a corner and see one skitter into a
Yeah,
vent,
right.
And whether it was technically feasible or not, there was nothing like this
Right,
in the
maybe
game.
not. When did Fear come out again?
2005.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't that long after because Xbox One.
Well, but
well,
Fear did
not
that.
Xbox One. It was Xbox original one.
Xbox One.
Expo.
No, it was like one of those things where it added a whole nother level of anticipation because you knew
Right.
something was there.
And it added that mental
Yeah,
aspect.
this game just had no anticipation for me,
And-
and that's what made it not
Yeah.
scary.
And here's kind of a technical limitation too, and you really saw this kind of at the start of Left 4 Dead, is they started putting in like AI directors, right? Like
Right.
Dead Space 2 and 3 would randomize enemies. So if you were just chilling for long enough, enemies would start popping up.
Right.
Or to try and change it in every playthrough, or especially Left 4 Dead, if they're having too easy a time,
Right. You
ramp
beef
it up.
Right.
With this, every enemy encounter is scripted.
Right.
There is an invisible trigger.
But I think
box
you can
somewhere.
do that right, though.
Right, but like for one of the things I would do, whenever I enter an area, is I go, all right, let's see, there's a narrow corridor there, so that's probably encounter.
Yeah.
So I would sprint the entire hallway and like sprint
Aggro
around and run around
aggro
the
all the enemies.
right
Yeah.
to make sure they all spawn, and then I'd go find a really nice corner and
To
sit
just
back
beat
with my
them.
machine
Right,
gun.
right, and that's
So-
not a way.
Right,
you
so
should wanna
like
play a
Jordan
game.
said jokingly, but quite seriously, there was action time, and then there was let's go find everything
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Well, and I think something else I was thinking about is I thought this game. I mean, we're not really talking about the difficulty, but I think this game was stupidly difficult, even on easy. Like I thought, I was.
I
Like,
think
having-
that's because you and I were going tech. Because
Right,
I think
go
I
beef
think if
tank.
we would
I was on normal and it was a joke.
It's really hard to dodge slow motion wrenches.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of like what I
Yes,
realized
I'm seriously.
The Hadoken monkeys were actually difficult.
Yeah, they were like Hadouken.
Well, but I thought it was
That was a
interesting.
monkey
Like
voice.
I was thinking about like
Monkey
fear,
voice.
right? In this game, there's supposed to be like this.
Evan's really good at that.
Yeah.
Let's hear some more.
No.
At the end
Anyway.
of the show.
At the end of the
Yeah.
show, the post.
Anyway,
in the cage looking so ridiculous.
Throwing my Hadoukens at this guy with the wrench.
but something I thought that kind of took away from the like survival horror element is when the game was so difficult. Like I kept dying, or I kept being like had 2 bullets left, right? And it was one of these things where like I realized that. Like playing something like Dead Space or even Bioshock, like, it's some kind of pretty creepy, scary.
I think the first
No,
Bioshock-
Bioshock was
I would say
scary as hell.
Bioshock 1 I
Bioshock
would
was so
consider
scary.
That's what I
hard.
was hoping. That was one of the reasons. One of my expectations for this game was I wanted it to be scary like Bioshock 1, and it
Right.
wasn't at all.
And I think part of what makes that is there's just enough fear of death, right? That you're constantly, oh, I gotta get out of here, or oh, I need to be really careful. Oh shit, something just spawned. I only have 2 bullets left, right?
Right.
Like, and Dead Space I think does that pretty well. But this game,
Yeah.
it was either like I was loaded with ammo the whole time, and I just, or I had easy enemies that could beat with the wrench, or it was like I have 2 bullets left, and at this point I don't even care if I die because there's like the.
Because I'm next to a
fucking-
cloney station,
Or
it
like-
doesn't reset my
I
progress.
still think cloney stations and Vita chambers in Bioshock were the worst examples of game design they could have had. I just don't think they're necessary, and I think they remove any tension from the game.
I think it's an annoyance. Like
Yeah.
you die and you're not like, oh, I died, but you're not like, oh, I died. You're just like, oh, I died.
all games
but-
need permadeath.
Well, no, but
like in
yeah.
Bioshock,
Roguelike
Drop the
Bioshock.
mic.
in Bioshock, a very legitimate strategy against Big Daddies was lure one next to a Vita chamber,
Right, and then just
and
die.
pull out your wrench and just keep dying constantly
Right.
until it dies.
Right.
Right. And so it made me realize that to be like truly in that real state of tension where stuff is scarier, right?
Right.
And part of like that scare is knowing that it's there or knowing if an enemy shows
That
up.
it
or not.
could be
Right,
there,
right,
right.
Or I'm like totally screwed. Like part of that tension is that just enough difficulty, right, where you're really concerned about that. If it was too hard, like I thought at the beginning of the game it was, I was like, I didn't care anymore. Kill me, whatever. It's like I got 3 bullets, right? I have the wrench.
I love how
everything,
Jordan was playing like passive aggressive. I don't even care anymore.
I don't care, just kill me.
or like
Fucking
the
kill me.
suicidal robots that ran up
Yeah,
to you.
right.
Like now at that
Fuck
point,
those things.
because it took like 4 bullets to kill them, and if they were close enough, they damaged you anyway. So that whole segment through the cargo bays, I'm like, whatever. A robot shows up, I'm just gonna take the 12 points of damage. Like, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
You know?
I fucking hated those robots.
Yeah.
God damn it, Joey! Why'd you gotta go do that?
Speaking of bullshit things that ruined the atmosphere, and I've complained
Falling
about
damage, I'm sorry.
No,
That's
falling
just-
damage-
Falling damage is fine.
Fine.
No,
Games
no,
make
no, no.
fall
Falling
damage.
damage was either like you took
Oh
2
my
damage or
God.
you're dead.
it's It's
Fair,
the gun
fair.
breaking.
Oh god, that was
And this is where I'm going to get to it.
absolute-
So, at one part, right, I'm like, because your gun breaking isn't scary, it's just stupid.
It's annoying.
Right? Like,
I don't know if they were going for that to
on
be
a
scary
ship.
though, were
You
they?
were on a spaceship that goes faster than the
light.
speed
Right,
of light.
right, and guns
Well,
break.
They can figure out how to make a 2000s era shotgun not break after like
Yeah,
7
because it's not like
shots.
the weapons were futuristic.
well, and
God.
that was the weird thing is like, so I hit this one point in the cargo bay, in fact, where I had loaded up on ammo. I was like, good, I had like 8 stacks of ammo. I was ready to go. One of the robots charges me. I drop him. I see his buddies come out, and then right then my gun goes break, and I'm like, really? Really? I have all this ammo. I could cover this room in bullets, and you're
might
not
as well
going
just
to let
throw
me
the
throw the bullets in.
chuck the ammo. And I was like, that to me brought me out of it. Right?
Oh.
It would have been like one thing, and I think this could be a cool mechanic you could put in a horror game, right? Where like randomly your gun has a chance of jamming during an encounter, and then
So you have to, like,
well,
reload
and
it
then
and
there's like
fix
an
it.
animation, right, where like your guy slaps it and empties the chamber
Well, that
and
was
puts it in
that
the
was one
ground.
of the cool things about Gears of War that it
Yeah.
introduced
Right.
was that reload system.
That like quick time
Yeah,
reload
yeah,
that
system.
quick
Yeah.
time reload
And-
was really cool.
Yeah.
But I think you could even use that in a horror game. For there's just like a
Yeah,
chance
like
to
a
happen.
Resident
Oh, I
Evil game.
agree.
Right.
Or like you can see on your animation that the gun's like starting to get jammed up. So now you have to think to yourself, okay, if I keep
Do I
shooting,
keep
there's
shooting?
a chance
Yeah.
it'll jam up, or
Right.
do I fix it?
Or
right.
I would have liked if there was an option to like drop to one knee. And speaking of Cthulhu games, kind of in horror, there's a game called Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, which is a terrifying first-person game, also. And there was a system like that where if you get hurt, you could actually bleed out, and like there were individual body parts that could get hurt.
Right.
And if you took a vital wound, you'd have to drop to one knee and bandage yourself during
Right.
it. And you have to like determine like, okay, I just took like a spike to the chest. Am I going to bleed out in the next 30 seconds? And I need to find a spot to drop to one knee or heal myself, or can I wait until the next safe area? And
Right.
I think that would be a cool mechanic.
It wouldn't
like-
work in this game though, because you're
No.
a cyber soldier.
Right, but I think it would be cool, like, let's say, you're fighting and you see your gun breaking, right? And you're like, okay, I could
Exactly.
drop to one
Right,
knee
yeah.
and take 10, and I know it'll take 10 seconds to repair the damage, or I can keep fighting and hope it doesn't conk
Right.
out on me now.
Right.
But with this, it's like, oops, it broke. Guess you better backtrack the 25 fucking minutes
Especially
to
because
find
they
a
were
repair.
so rare.
Right.
Like the repair
Yeah,
things were
yeah.
so
Well,
rare.
that was one of the perks of going tech is I could always repair my shit, and I could modify them too. Though the modifications were like 25% more ammo, less knockback.
You're like, sweet!
The worst part was like one of my shotguns jammed or something like that, and so I was just like whatever. It is another example of like so clunky. So I was just like whatever. I threw it away, only to realize that I had loaded all of my like specialized shotgun bullets into that shotgun, and so you had to go take the shotgun,
yeah.
click unload, make sure you had inventory spots, and then throw it. And like to loot all the guns too, you had to do the same thing. You had to bring the pistol into your inventory. You already had what you
I
had to
really
use.
like inventories like that though, that are like space based.
Resident
yeah,
Evil.
Right.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil was intuitive in that if you already had a
Well,
pistol
yeah.
and
And it would just give
and
you
you
the
picked up a
bullets.
pistol, it assumed you unloaded the ammo.
But
from
no,
it.
that's stupid.
Yeah, I had to like put it in the inventory,
That's
click
stupid.
unload.
But I do agree with you,
throw
Scott.
it.
I like
Yeah.
space-based.
Yeah, I think they're
inventory.
very immersive.
Like that was one of my favorite things about
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4
Right.
was
Absolutely.
trying to figure out which guns you can carry and what ammo
Right.
you
No,
Same
can
with
I-
Diablo, like
Well,
I feel
yeah,
like
it's-
Diablo.
Yeah,
it's
I like
like-
that kind of thing too.
Well, because it breaks immersion. If it's the same way a lot of people
I
complain
got
about.
my magical space pack.
I like
Right.
Pokemon, you can hold.
Right.
I'm like, holy crap!
Well,
I
it's
have
the
150 items in my
A lot of
bag.
people complained in Halo when they were like, "Oh, you can only carry 2 weapons," and I was like, "That to me seems like pretty spot
I
on."
like
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
real.
Like I can
Realistic.
carry an assault rifle or a rocket launcher, not the entire armory
Yeah.
of the
Right.
UNSC.
Right, and that's what you're talking about. Is do you value
Half-Life
realism or like
Right.
variety more? Because like Unreal Tournament, people love that you can have like 10 guns at the
Right,
same
and-
time. But
But I think like a lot of games strike a healthy medium.
answer your phone during the show.
No.
Damn.
Oh, nice! Yay! No lol and no phone answer.
I think a lot of games strike the healthy medium where it's like,
Right.
well, to your average layperson, they're probably not going to carry a rocket launcher, a wrench, and a shotgun with them and still
Right.
run around and be fine. But, it's close enough to real.
Right, it's
That I like
better.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I agree.
But, again, it was minor gripes. But that gun breaking thing, every time it happened, it pulled me
So
out of the
lame.
game entirely.
It just didn't make any sense.
It didn't add anything.
It didn't
to
add
the
or
game,
subtract anything.
It was like they wanted to
Right.
do that deep, complex text system, but they needed a reason for it to exist. right? Like, and it just, even with the whole, they're building this big atmosphere and this kind of futuristic setting, and like, okay, the old school pistols and shotguns, rocket launchers, assault rifles, okay, I get it.
Whatever, yeah.
That's guns that people are familiar with, so they don't have to learn this massive system on top of what the WXD ray gun is versus the WXD assault ray gun, right? But it's like, that I can get, okay. But it's like, the repair thing, it just, what? I mean, I joke about it with...
I think it's a leftover from the RPG that they originally had intended to make it, like a durability system.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that makes sense if you're in, like, what's the... They're making... We had it on the Xbox 360, one of the first games we played here, the
World of
Dead Rising.
Warcraft.
No,
Dead Rising,
Dead
yeah.
Rising, where you like, you know,
Craft your own
Yeah, you're
weapons.
crafting and you're like hacking through waves of zombies, and your things break down. Like, that to me makes sense.
Right.
But like, here I am, a cyberonic super soldier who can psionically move things across a room, yet my gun breaks, and it broke fast. Like,
yeah,
it was.
well, that was the other
you know.
thing. Is the only place you could actually see the durability was in the tab screen.
No, it had the icon.
Yeah, but it wasn't
was tiny,
clear,
yeah.
right? So it was like, to me, like, if I wanted to know if my gun was actually gonna break or not, I'd be hitting tab, like, in the middle of combat, like, mashing it really fast and be like, is it gonna break this shot? Is it gonna break this shot?
Yeah, it was just a
It's-
number system.
Right, and it was like,
stupid.
it was not intuitive at all.
Like, even if it was just like a bar with like a line,
Right.
that would have
Right.
been so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, what's a 2 mean? Does
Yeah.
a 2 mean I have one shot? Does it mean I have a whole clip?
Well, and it would randomize sometimes, like,
So
how much
stupid.
damage it would do to the gun. So I had a rocket launcher where I would unload 5 shots, nothing, no damage. And then I'd pull out my shotgun, 1 shot, it breaks from full durability. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Why
just,
would you do this?
I think that's like, I mean, some of the things we've talked about in terms of like the game design, you could argue, you know, old school, whatever.
Right, whatever, yeah.
But I think there's nobody on the planet who seriously goes, the weapon durability was really awesome. Like they could have added that same
that
level
made
of
the game
tension.
for me. That made the game.
Yeah, like they could have had that same level of tension through something else. They could have made, you know, the tech path more useful some other way, but it was like that just, it didn't make any sense, and
Right.
it was clunky as shit. Do some sound clips
Hashtag-
before
Do
I...
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Hashtag
have,
obtuse.
I was gonna say I have so many sound clips for this, so I'm excited to get. Okay, let's
So
move the
So
computer.
since
up
we're running
on
low
the
on time,
table.
you're gonna play them all simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play them
Like
all.
Showdown.
Yeah, here, wait. Okay, hold
No.
my mic.
I'm sure, though, that needs to be a
Why
game.
would
Showdown
you
is my
What's
wife.
the music of
The
the
thing,
game?
the
Okay.
thing that I am worried about with these, well, not worried about, but I have to play them.
I support all
so
V-Bucks,
it might
listen to
start
them.
the next clip after. So
Sean's not talking to the viewers.
no,
Okay,
it's I'm just
so
gonna
here we
have
go.
to- I'm gonna have to pause.
On our second year
Emergency
anniversary, we
space.
will find a way to do the sound effects in the actual thing. So everybody
Yeah,
can
What's the
We'll
bumper
get
for
that.
sound clips? I don't even remember. Is there a bumper for sound
No,
clips?
there's
Why
no
isn't there a bumper for sound clips?
That actually doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've got one.
After 25 shots.
I've got one.
No, that's already the bumper for the history section.
No, Joey's the bumper for
Joe,
this.
oh, right, okay.
I'm your friend.
Or
Joey,
who's the bumper for
Joey.
Jordan jokes?
Alright.
Okay.
Alright,
sound clip us.
So first up-
yeah, these are in no specific order, but this is what the Marines guy said. And I thought I recorded because I like the voice was like the most like just stereotypical Marines
Oh,
thing
yeah, yeah.
ever. Okay, so anyway, here we go.
Alright, wannabe. If you want to learn the weapon skills it takes to even think about joining the Marines, come on in.
You're
Yeah.
obviously gonna edit them in.
Well, fine.
I mean, just keep it close so you can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that was good.
So yeah, so I just like that because it reminded me of Does anyone remember? Oh fuck, what was that movie?
That was cool, by the way. That part of the game, I just want to play.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we said at the beginning, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I thought that was a
cool.
really cool way to set that up, and like it was a long section where it was like you did all the learning stuff,
Right.
and then you picked your
But it
area,
didn't
and
feel
then you picked
boring.
your-
No, at
it
all.
didn't. It felt really. It was an interesting way to do that because they could have so easily, done like
A checkbox.
like any sort of RPG system where it's
Right.
like you start off the game like Skyrim or whatever,
Right.
Pick these 45 things and then
Yeah,
start
yeah,
your
yeah.
game.
Right.
And I'm glad that they did it that way.
Why are all Marines like slightly southern though?
I
In the
don't-
future.
Again, this
I don't
comes
know.
back to they were like, all right, guys, we have this immense, huge script for all this voice acting you want to do, and some pieces are really integral to the gameplay and the story. It's really going to flesh out the world. So let's just stand out on the streets of LA outside our
But
studio.
it's
How
not just
many, how many voices can you make?
Wait, but it's not just this. Jim Raynor and all of the Marines in StarCraft.
I mean, I think that's kind of
Starship
to
Troop.
that.
Starship
I
Troop.
think that's
it's like-
playing to that stereo.
I agree,
That
that's
trope,
just
though.
a
Well,
stereotype.
Yeah, but, like,
it all
why-
comes from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's
the,
just
the,
Yeah,
the,
Josh,
the stereotype
Phil
of the
Phil Major.
stereotype
in
of that.
space. No one can hear you, Southern.
So,
Alright, go ahead. do this
speaking of those intro voice things, I also captured this. This one is titled "Psyops Fake Jane Lynch" because I thought she sounded like Jane Lynch.
Inside, you will learn how to reach out with your mind. Do not let fear block your path.
And I can just like
It
imagine.
sounded like Wreck-It
Yeah.
Ralph.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it reminded me of. It
Jordan,
sounded
don't
like
act
a
like you haven't
character
seen
in
Wreck-It
I have
Ralph.
seen Wreck-It Ralph.
Good for
Good.
you. That was a great movie, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Me too.
It's a fantastic movie.
Okay.
This was also so I also captured the Navy guy, which I thought it was weird that the Navy are like tech people in the future. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it
Well,
makes sense. You go
yeah.
from like ships to
To
spaceships.
I guess
to
like I mean the
Navy.
Air Force would theoretically take over, you know.
Right.
So
If
I guess
anybody-
the Navy people had to figure out something to do. There's
yeah,
probably
who
no
cares
water
about
left
the
on Earth
oceans?
at this point.
Yeah,
you
once
know?
we can go to space, who gives a shit about oceans?
Right.
Navy viewers,
James
send your hate
Cameron.
mail. Jordan Coulter.
Yeah. Sorry, Navy viewers, if this is
To all our
100 years-
overseas viewers, you can send your mail to Jordan Coulter.
Jordan Coulter at
5 on the 5 gamingpodcast.com.
That's right.
Yeah,
Jordan
sorry.
Coulter, yeah.
If in 100 years the Navy is not obsolete, I will dutifully apologize to our men and women in service.
Have
All
you
right.
noticed in sci-fi though, it's always the Navy who's like the spaceships?
Yeah,
not
exactly.
The,
That's
not
what
the Air
that's what I was
Force?
saying was so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Not
Or-
the Navy!
Well, or it's the Marines, like in
Yeah.
Halo, it's the Marines.
In the Navy,
You got it, Jordan.
sail the 7 stars.
Alright, to the
Okay,
next one.
okay.
Sean and Josh casually overlooking
Inside,
SpongeBob
we'll teach you the
references.
basics of some technical skills you'll need in the Navy.
He's
So-
not Southern.
That was Joey.
So, well, that guy sounded like he was doing his C-3PO impression.
Right.
Like, oh, sir, I was told moisture evaporators on the spaceship. Blah, blah, blah.
This is a side point, and I think it's funny that we like so identify that like, you know, robotic, like coming through a transmitter kind of sound, you know, for sci-fi. When you have to think about it, like in 20 years, we're gonna have crystal clear.
Of course, yeah.
I was
audio
saying my
quality-
cell phone already
We already
sounds better
basically
than that.
did.
Yeah, but we'll be able to send that. Like, I'll be able to talk to somebody in Bangalore with like perfect, crystal clear HD.
You ever
like,
been on
sound.
Skype, bro?
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Oh, yeah,
chat roulette,
chat
right?
roulette. Chat
Right.
roulette.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
talking
chat
about
roulette, bro. Oh, Don
I can talk to somebody sitting next to me on Skype and it
Thank
doesn't
you.
sound good.
Right, but but like in 20 years, that's gonna be like flawless, crystal clear.
Yeah,
any
but that's such a trope in
years.
science fiction.
Yeah.
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 It's like
Um,
it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's the same
Okay.
way like dimly lit ships in the future.
Right.
Who the fuck doesn't put a halogen bulb like every 2 feet?
Right.
It's gonna look like Star Trek, not Dead
Yeah.
Space people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this that I was also from. I got a lot of stuff from the tutorial section because there was so much good voice stuff that was happening.
Because that's all
there.
you played. Boom!
Oh yeah, totally.
Just kidding.
Well, no, it was.
I'm
but,
kidding.
That's
but like the
Skylar's
first
job.
hour and a half is what I
Yeah.
played with Audacity on.
Right.
Because I don't want to play with that on and go through like 4 hours of
Yeah.
Audacity to find clips. But
Right.
The
anyway,
point stands.
this was I cut a lot of different times together because he said simply a lot in that first part.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I put together.
Oh yeah.
I put together all the times he said simply, so I thought this was funny.
Simply move the pointer to the crate, simply left-click on it. Simply walk into it and look upward. You can repeat the training as often as you wish.
Would you simply click?
Oh! Well, to me, it just sounded like he was really fed up. It was like, you're the 1,000th person I've told this to, and I just don't give a shit
Simply
anymore.
do it. It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
that
He's
hard.
probably like, yeah, it's not that fucking hard. You've gone to military school.
Yeah, you're about to be sent on like this experimental, you know, like spaceship. You've got a cyborg computer built into your brain.
If you can't figure out how to left click by then, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So this one is called Cyberlink Booth. I don't remember what this is. Oh, maybe it's the actual intro from that.
To pick up some basic skills you'll need to get by in the service, enter this Cyberlink booth. Inside, you'll learn the basic skills you'll need to get started.
So that I imagined as not a Cyberlink booth, but as like some sort of futuristic whorehouse where you.
That would be like the name of the
And get the
whorehouse.
skills
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. When you
Hey
were talking
baby,
about
I'll
that.
meet you at the Cyberlink booth.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I forgot to play this one.
Yucky section.
This was from the actual like intro of the game. This was like some of the voiceover from the older stuff. So I thought this was-
.avi files
Yeah.
for the win.
Yep.
February 3rd is the day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. Would you like to know more?
It's totally a whorehouse. It's totally a whorehouse.
I get it.
I threw on.
So
did
it's
you like
all
I threw
in
on
the
the
analogy.
Starship
I caught that.
Because that's like when I was watching that. Oh, I thought, would you like to know more?
Can we see the one that's pew pew lasers?
Yeah, this one's pew pew lasers. This is just what the laser pistol sounds like. I thought it was. It was.
I thought it was a sound. Cliche much.
I was gonna say that could be like in the new Skrillex song.
I was gonna say it sounded like it was very Star Wars Blaster.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah.
Speaking of remix, I called this the Value Rap Remix.
Oh, God.
Because I noticed that when you bought things from the machine, it like kept saying the thing over itself. And they gave you like $2,000.
You mean every voice that talked over every other
Yeah.
voice the entire game?
Yep. So this is the Value Rap Remix. Get ready. Drop some fat beats on this.
Thank you for choosing Value Rap. Choosing Value Rap. Please make your selection. Hi there. Hi there. Please make your selection.
Okay, so let's. Well, we.
Okay,
pause for a
wait, was
second.
that not the end?
I followed that
Keep
under
going.
you could, but why?
I want more.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, I want more.
We got a technical thing.
All right, here we go.
God.
This one.
Still
Don't
going.
worry. This one is
Oh,
called
yeah.
Monkey Fight. Get
Okay.
excited.
Hell yeah.
Your corpse is useless to
That is the sound of a monkey getting wrecked in the face.
Yep. That was me fighting a regular enemy, and then a monkey came up, and I was like, "Oh, it's a monkey. It must just be like some ambient."
Wait, this is the first monkey yet.
Me too. I did the same thing.
And then I was like, and then it started attacking me and doing a shit ton of damage. And I was like, "What the
It did
fuck?"
way more damage than the other
I was
end.
like, the other thing is the textures back then weren't good enough to make it look like it was a mutated monkey. So
Yeah, so
it's
just
It was just
It's
adorable.
like a little capuchin.
And it had like its little
Yeah.
like brain sticking out or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so this
who
one,
doesn't.
this one we already talked about this, but this is Matrix style music. This is the music when you're
Yeah,
fighting.
best music.
Wait for the drop.
Yeah, it definitely felt out of place.
Oh,
But it
God.
was still awesome. I don't
It
know.
was.
It's
I
still
hated it.
awesome.
I got the soundtrack just for that
Jordan's
song.
a hater.
I was like,
I-
soundtrack brought to you by Crystal Method.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Jordan is chugging the haterade.
Do we have any Shodan quotes?
Well, she was in the beginning of that. Well, I guess it wasn't her. It was her fake thing. I don't think I do. I'm sorry.
This Immortal
Oh, maybe.
Machine one?
Look
Yeah.
at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?
She was
Yeah.
creepy.
So that
That's
was
like Fontaine.
I could not
Yeah.
sleep if I heard that.
yeah. That was right. That was the voiceover right at the beginning of the game, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
setup for this was so cool.
They actually use that whole speech is actually part of her speech at the
Yeah,
end,
which
too,
is
in the
awesome.
final.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it just reminds me of like Fontaine, like when you're just walking around and then you just get like one of his little like random blurbs,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
like like that sounds exactly like he would be talking to
Totally,
you. It's
yeah.
awesome.
Okay, so that's all the sound clips I have. We're gonna take a break
We,
really
we,
quick.
we need to cut it because we've been
None of
recording-
this will be in the show because you won't tell that we did a cut.
It needs
I
flow.
promise this doesn't look different.
So it's time to do quick attacks.
Yeah. John.
Oh wait, somebody get the battle on Pokemon. We'll put
No.
the mic up to it.
Pikachu
I know, guys, you have
used
to-
mass murder.
Guys, we have to do the sound all together, right?
Pikachu.
Alright, ready?
Quick attack.
2, 1.
Pikachu! Quick attack!
Alright, so that was fun.
Okay, well, so that's a quick Skylar's got the remix
Even though that was
going.
partially my idea, that is easily one of the dumbest things we've ever done.
It was awesome.
And
That was
hopefully
really great.
it'll make it into the show.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be great. Okay, so Quick Attack Sports and Show. This is where we talk about something else we've been playing that
Oh,
not
shit,
System
I didn't
Shock
think
2.
about this
Oh my
actually.
God.
Oh my god.
We took like a 30-minute
My
break
brain.
and think of something. Oh my god.
Just don't
All right,
pick me.
let's start with Jordan. What have you been playing?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go around.
Nope.
No,
We're going around the good way.
I'm
That
doing
makes
a
you go
backwards
first.
J. Backwards J.
Backwards J's.
J for Jordan.
Fitting we would start that with Jordan.
You
So
pick your game.
J for juice.
What? Okay, so for my quick attack, Sean and Rest of Podcast, I've been playing Hearthstone.
Don't do this to me! Don't. Wait, he did that last week.
Yeah, I did.
So
we talked about it for like 20 minutes.
So I just got into the beta, I don't know, like a week ago. It took me forever to kind of get set up because I was having problems, but then I got into it, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I've always been a big Magic player. In fact, the reason that pretty much all of us, really except Sean, because we didn't really play with you.
I didn't play with you.
It
was pretty much just you and me.
It was you, me, and Ryan.
Right,
freshman
but
year.
that's not how I got into it. I was already playing.
No, that's not what he was saying.
We played together. The three
God.
of us, yeah, we like freshman year, we would play together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm a big Magic player, or was a big Magic player, I should say. And so I like Hearthstone. I mean, I
Got
think
for
there's
Jordan at the Pro Tour.
no, not
2015.
Shout out.
None of that is true. I mean, there's some things that I think are kind of lame, and it's obviously in beta, so I think there's things that need tweaking.
But you can pay real money for.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean,
I have.
yeah, I was gonna say.
I have.
I mean, I think it's kind of cool, especially because the main competitive mode. And I was talking to Evan about this earlier. The arena is cool because it takes.
the main competitive.
Yeah, it is.
It's the fun competitive
It's
mode.
the fun competitive
fun
mode.
Where you
but
can
it's not
actually,
the
where you
main
actually
one.
like get rewards and stuff for playing, right? The one where you can actually get rewards for playing.
Right.
And it's cool because it like takes out any pay to win because you build a deck based on random cards
It's
that it
drafting.
gives you. Yeah, it's drafting, so it tests your drafting skills.
It takes out pay to win and adds RNG.
Well, it takes out pay to win. The problem is you can either use the in-game currency, which if you're doing like all the dailies and not paying for it, you can do it maybe like twice, maybe 3 times a
It
week.
takes 4 days.
No,
to
no way, no way,
Wow.
no way. I've paid for 2 arenas and I probably played 10 times in my first
Right,
week.
but here's
For
the thing
free.
though. Here's the thing.
What?
The better
Yeah.
you do in arena, you get gold
Yeah,
from
right,
it, which
yeah,
helps.
right.
But theoretically, if you were just doing the dailies from it, you could do
Take-
one every 4 days.
Okay, so somewhere in between.
One quest a day. 40
Oh, you mean
gold
not
all the time.
counting getting 10
Right.
gold for 3 wins?
Right, not counting that. I'm saying
Oh.
if you just did daily quests,
Yeah.
it would take you 4 days.
So okay, so the thing is cool that it's cool because it's drafting when it takes out the RNG or the pay to win. The problem is if you could pay to do it, which means you can kind of pay to win because if we assume if you do it more often you get better at it, the people who can afford to play it more often,
I don't
then
like that argument.
no, if you could afford to do it more often, then you would theoretically get better, and then the more wins you get in the arena mode, like the more gold is like it's more likely that you're going to get the amount of gold back so that you can go and play it again.
I don't know. I don't think you get that much better just doing it.
I would say so.
I
I
want
think
Jordan
you
on
can
this
watch
one.
it and get better without.
Yeah, but I
playing
mean,
it.
it's still if I want to spend an afternoon and throw $10 at it, that's a lot more than somebody who's not playing at all.
Right.
Right.
Right, but you just have to remember that you just paid $10 for a beta.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I've already done it. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm just saying it's cool that they took that pay to win out. I just still think there's kind of an
Obviously, but
subvert-
they're trying to make money.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
So I can't blame it. I think it's cool. I like it, and I'm interested to see how it goes, and I'm also interested to see if they announce something cool at BlizzCon about it.
Hopefully not Death Knight.
I want Death Knight so bad. I play Warrior and it's fun because it's like the tank, and I play Rogue because it's all stabby and shit. But they really need Death Knight. Blizzard, get on this. Come on.
Blizzard don't have Death Knights.
Well, that's Hearthstone.
yeah,
That's Hearthstone.
All right,
Good
Evan,
pitch, Jordan.
Evan, what do you have?
Well,
Well,
so
I
quick.
actually have 3, so I'm going to try to go through all of them pretty quickly.
Cool.
Oh, well, no.
Do it, Evan. No, it's all good. It's all good, Evan. Do it. Go for it.
Jordan goes, I'd like to talk about a couple games just briefly. Jordan, stop kicking babies out! Evan said the exact same
How many
thing.
times has Evan talked?
Now I know what his face looks like when he whines over the podcast. Now I finally get a visual
You don't have to
for the
live
sound.
with it.
Oh,
Live
man.
together.
Put this on.
Can I have a
Seriously,
shot?
that's been on Josh's stomach.
All right, like most times Evan started talking, everyone else talked over him. So Evan, what have you
Okay.
been playing?
So I guess I'll start with, I just, for the first time in my life, beat Half-Life 2
Yay.
yesterday.
Still haven't beaten it. 420 blaze it.
I guess.
Okay.
Okay, I
420
guess.
wrench it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is awesome, and now I really want to get episode 1 and 2. And
Sure,
see,
they're cheap.
finally caught up.
They're super cheap.
But
But
Half-Life
to be
is
fair,
really
you've got like
cool.
10 years before Half-Life 3.
I don't know, man. When Steam Box comes out,
Or
I'm
1 week.
guessing it.
Or 1 week.
I'm guessing when Steam Box comes out, Left 4 Dead 3 and Half-Life 3. will
There
come
could be
out.
launch titles on the Steam box.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
definitely.
are there
I
gonna
see
be
it,
launch
actually.
titles on the Steam box?
Definitely.
That makes
I
sense.
think the bigger thing
Yeah.
is they're waiting for a way to monetize it. They're like, how do we monetize a single
How
player
do we
game?
make a
Yeah,
right.
totally.
And
Buy
if-
skins.
if-
No one will see.
Yeah, if anybody
Rent,
has been able
crowbar
to figure it
skins.
out.
Crowbar
Yeah.
skins.
Crowbar skins. Good crowbar camo.
Well, it's kind of funny, not to sidetrack, but to talk about Valve because they're in so much hot water with Dota. I don't know if anybody saw this.
Why are people pissed off
So-
about Diretide not showing up?
Because people are so dumb.
Well, here's the thing. Like, obviously, not everybody's angry, and there's this like Twitch chat mentality where they're like spamming dumb stuff. But it was like Valve said it would be annual, and then like didn't say anything, right?
Turns on the people.
Here-
who's
no,
no.
pissed off. Turns on
No,
the people.
I
who's
thought
pissed
Dire Time was really fun, and it's just like, but there was no like Valve being like, actually, we're working on something else, so we're not going to do it.
There's
this
the
year.
lack of communication.
Yeah, but they just like they didn't say nothing, and they knew this was this big build-up, and then like on November 1st, as if to like make it worse, where they released it last year, they did a patch that added more hats and like tickets.
I'm not.
And so everybody was like, "Are you serious? Not really did they
I'm not
say
saying
anything?"
anything, Sean, but Riot's had their Halloween thing out every year since launch. So
Yeah.
League
Better
of
game.
Legends
10 out of
just-
10 from IGN. So
and a 2 out of 10 from Destructoid.
So what other games have you played, Evan?
My other 2 games, they're both
Bobo.
Pokemon related, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got both of them actually. I'm borrowing from a friend currently.
he's just holding it for a friend.
Yeah.
It's not his Pokemon.
420 Blaziken it.
Legal. It's legal though.
Blaziken.
You're welcome.
Okay, on Game Boy Color, I'm playing Pokemon trading card game,
Oh,
That
God.
game is so good.
and so that is so nostalgic, and so that's a ton of fun. And then I'm also playing Heart Gold on DS.
Nice. I really liked it. I played Soul Silver.
Are you in the
but-
heart of the cards?
I am.
Yeah, wow.
Combining your 2 games, it actually is
Yeah.
very topical.
if they had Offspring, it would be Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, it's a fun game, and I really, I don't know. I think Pokemon is definitely one of those games that can be updated, and like it'll still be just as fun as the original
Yeah.
version.
Agreed.
Did you ever play Pokemon Pinball?
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
played, I
still
played like
have
3
mine.
Pokemon games
If
in
you
my
can,
life.
if you can get a hold of one of the pinball games, pick it up. 'Cause that
I'll
was
lend
pretty
it to you,
fun.
Evan. I still have mine.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my birthday.
Nice.
That was quick.
All right,
Yeah.
Skylar.
What? Have I talked about Professor Layton ever?
No.
Good.
I don't think.
Alright.
I think you said you bought your 3DS to play.
Yes. All right. So I
That was
got
like a
Professor
week ago,
Layton, and it's awesation. I don't know. Have any of you played
What's the
Professor
basic
Layton?
premise of Professor
Cool.
Layton?
So it's basically a point and click game. Like that's the main like what you do is you click on shit, but then they give you puzzles and they're like brain teaser, optical illusion, like just like random ass puzzles that are really fun to do. Like rearrange these matches to form a shape kind of puzzles. What? Oh, sorry. They're like rearrange these matches to form a shape kind of puzzle.
I was like trying to make.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. So like you rearrange matches, form this shape, do this. It's just like puzzles that I like doing, and you just do hundreds of them, and that's the game. And
On
You're
it's
also,
really fun.
you're also a
mobile.
strange middle-aged man who travels around with an underage boy. That's part of it, Professor Layton.
Why is Josh talking about his social life?
Whoa! And the plot of Theocalypse.
That was an alley-oop for the wine.
12 out of 10 from our shit.
The Cocalypse coming out.
But yeah, seriously, if you like puzzles, like not like puzzle games, but more just like puzzles in general, that's what makes this game fun.
Have you heard about
How do you spell
Device 6? I think it's called.
Layton.
You heard about Device 6? It's I think it's only on iPad and iPhone right now, but it's I'd look up
But I
the
don't
video
want to
of
hear
it.
about it.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
I'm sure it'll be on
Get
Android
out.
at some point. But it's a like interactive novel basically that has like puzzle solving based on like
That's sick.
so like as you're reading the story, like if your character turns right, like the text starts to turn right, and so you have to like, turn your device to keep reading it.
This
and,
sounds like House of Leaves, the game.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so, like, and if you like start looking through a window, like you look through a window at the text, like your character.
This sounds
is.
awesome.
And
That
then,
sounds tight.
and then there are places where like you get to a door and it's locked and it won't let you scroll any further. and so you have to go back in the text and find the like puzzle for where the key is hidden, so that you can like
This
unlock the
sounds
door.
so cool.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
super cool. So look up
Okay.
look up a video of
DS,
Device 6. It's really cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Port it to DS. Yeah. So
But-
Professor Layton,
Anyway.
check it out if you like puzzles.
That was nice and short, unlike Jordan's.
You know what?
But
Next
like
time-
Jordan's height.
Wait, coming from you?
I was gonna say,
Yep.
all of you were all
You're like a
basically the same
half
height.
inch away from Munchkin.
It's a good board game.
I mean,
You know,
okay,
I
let's
know.
not get wrong. Jordan's Oompa Loompa, but like,
No, Skylar's half inch from Munchkin, and a half inch is a poopy head.
right.
All right, Josh, what are you?
I
420 poop.
I'm gonna kind of preface. She didn't say 420 poop it.
No, it's poop.
420 poop it.
That's
You
not
heard
what I
it.
heard.
I want everyone to get on Twitter.
420 poop.
Drop the mic.
Alright, anyway.
I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm usually really good with horror games. I played
Oh,
through
okay.
the first 3 Dead Space, the only 3 Dead Space. If you're not counting that mobile game, which I have also, actually. I have
And
And the
Wii- and the
Wii
Wii
version.
game.
Yeah,
I have the Wii one too on PS3. I've
I
got,
know.
Yeah.
Holy
And
shit.
and the PS3 one that was the light gun game.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the DVR one
I
that was
like
to
that.
Dead Space music.
That should be a thing. But I played those on like the hardest difficulty setting with the lights off, like totally immersed the first time I played it. I played Amnesia and was bored out of my mind. I didn't find it scary at
So
all.
hardcore.
And like,
Except for not anymore.
so
After this.
I bought Outlast on Steam.
Oh yeah.
Which is like a
But-
sad Fatal Frame wannabe.
Right, and I was like,
I thought it
this-
was I thought it was like Survivor, the TV show, the game.
yeah,
No,
the movie based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, so I loaded this out and I was like, oh, it's like Amnesia with a camera. This won't be bad. And like 20 minutes later, I'm sitting there like, nope.
Josh posted on Facebook
Right.
at like 11 at night.
11
Please, someone come over to my house and play Outlast
Yes,
with me.
this game is like, I could not sit through this alone. Like, this game freaks me the fuck out. And I don't know why, because it's very similar to Amnesia, except minus the horrific fisheye lens, which you can't turn
The
off.
tension is really good.
Right.
Man.
Right, yeah, through a fisheye. Except that it gave me a headache in Amnesia, and you can't turn it
Headache.
off. But like, the controls are much smoother. It plays much more like Mirror's Edge than Amnesia.
Yeah.
There are like
So, like,
elements.
I've watched playthrough.
There's a lot of like running away from enemies, just like Amnesia, because you can't fight. But you can slide under things
Right.
and vault over things, and
You
it
have to
makes
like
it.
go through walls.
Yeah,
like-
and it makes it much better because, like, in the first major encounter, you're getting chased by this demented guy, and how I wound up getting through it is I pushed a hospital bed into a doorway, so it blocked it, and I wound up sliding under the bed, and it kind of got him stuck in the door. It's like, okay, I'm safe. And then he vaulted the doorway. He vaulted the bed. I'm like, what? They have access to the same shit I can do? Because I remember in Amnesia, I would like stack boxes like chest
Right,
high,
right.
and the grunts would be like, "Oh no, a chest high wall of easily moved cardboard. Well, I guess I'll leave him alone."
I gotta go back to destroying other dimensions
Right,
now.
But these guys will seriously chase you until they lose sight of you.
The problem though is the search mechanic in the rooms, where as long as you get in, there's like lockers in rooms, and
Yeah.
enemies will come in and open lockers. You're like, oh no, they're gonna open my locker. If you get into the room before they do, they will never open your locker,
Yeah.
and they'll always open one of the other lockers.
Well,
That was the only thing that bothered me about
Yeah,
the
and that's
game.
an AI issue, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it might be a little cheap if they could.
No, absolutely. So
Because,
it's a really hard
the
balance.
enemy AI is really freaking good in this game, and
Yeah.
it's just the other really cool thing.
Just
they
wait
do
till
is-
later in the game, Josh.
I'm not prepared to get there alone. But like, so one of the major mechanics is you have a camcorder, and you need to be recording the whole thing while you're doing it. So right click brings up your camcorder, and it's hugely necessary because a lot of the game is very dark, and you have to use the night vision mode to see. But like Alan Wake, the batteries are limited, and you need to keep finding batteries. But they do such a... I was a film student. I played with cameras a lot. And they do a great job of really capturing what night vision on a camera looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, eyes sparkle. And you can't see anything of the person but their eyes.
Until you're like close to them.
Right. But there's a great segment where you find all these heads on, like, shelves. And they're decapitated heads. And all their eyes are sparkling. And you're kind of walking around looking. And one of them...
Blink.
It's the joke from Young Frankenstein, right? Where it's like a real guy and he pops out of the thing, but it's an enemy and it's fucking terrifying when it happens.
Right.
And I just, Young
This is
Frankenstein.
where you need to point it.
Oh, no.
But like
This
that
podcast
happens.
brought to you by Coke Zero and Young Frankenstein.
That's right.
That is
Mel
funny
Brooks,
that you
Mel
made that. I
Brooks.
was like, he makes that joke, and I'm like, that DVD it right there.
But I thought I was gonna like fall out of my chair and shit myself when it happened. I was really glad I had gone to the bathroom.
And that's what he
before.
posted on Facebook.
That's right. So the bottom line is, if you want a horror game, Outlast is fucking terrible.
Yeah,
It's
I
good.
think
The story's
ambience
pretty
is
good,
cool.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everything
I'm
about
not
it's
far
really
enough in
good.
it to really
Right.
be into
From the
story,
whole
but-
story, because I've watched it from beginning to end, and the story is pretty cool.
And it takes place in Colorado.
It does.
So that was a much faster quick attack than Jordan's. So.
That wasn't like twice the length.
I-
Hey, you guys want to give me shit about long quick attacks, but don't be hypocrites, all right?
You're welcome to give us shit about Lock Quick
Yeah.
Attacks too.
I
then.
do, and I get shouted down from the treetops. Go treetop.
Yeah, well, that's a weird nickname. So
You're my treetop.
I haven't been playing a ton. I've been playing real life
And Pokemon.
trying to set up. No, I'm trying to do freelancing, so that's been fun. But hard to set up. So I've been dealing with that. I have been playing Pokemon still.
Are you developing your website in Dreamweaver?
No, I'm doing it on Squarespace.com. This podcast not brought to you by Squarespace.
I hope you all liked that Dreamweaver
Yeah,
reference.
that was pretty
Awesome.
hardcore.
It was intense.
No. What did I play? I played Card Hunter a little bit.
Oh,
You guys
I
know
got into
about
that beta forever ago, played for like 5 minutes and didn't like it that much. But I probably didn't play enough.
Classic
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty much the story of every game Skylar's ever played.
Yep.
I think it's cool. It's like a real time, or not real time. It's like turn-based strategy mixed with like card game
Wizard
mechanics, like. And it's kind of like Knights of Pen and Paper, where it's like you're playing a D&D campaign, and it's like fourth wall stuff, where like you see your people that are playing the campaign, so you're like one removed from it. It's cool. Like there's a lot of cool strategic stuff. Like there are enemies that get bonuses on certain like ground tiles and like different stuff. So yeah, I think it's a cool game, but I've only played it for about an hour or so. But it's free. You can get it online. It's just Flash based and it plays in your browser. So yeah, check that out.
Cool.
Cool.
2 cents wrap.
I got into the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot beta.
I want
in
that.
a couple weeks for me to talk about that.
I
haven't
want
heard
to play
about
that.
It's
Skylar,
Ubisoft's new game.
we all know you're gonna play 9 minutes.
No, I've already played over an hour, bro.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Everyone just walk away.
Drop
my-
Finish this so I can
Drop
throw it
those
at Jordan.
Chug.
Boo!
The people listening to this podcast will have no idea what's going on.
This-
No one's gonna listen to a video podcast.
It'll be on YouTube.
If you're listening to this, stop.
Go watch.
I know it's been a while. Just stop.
I know you're at the end, but go back.
Oh my God. Also, if you're listening, I've knocked Evan's phone off the couch like 13 times throughout the course of this
It has
podcast.
to go.
Like every 10 minutes. Thump.
So anyway, what do we do after Quick Attack?
Anyway, let's do our 2 cents wrap-ups. So
I didn't prepare one, sorry.
good. No, that's great. Because I didn't prepare one this week.
Wait, I need to
either,
look
so-
something up to say.
Okay, look up something to say. So,
Could we do like the nostalgia thing? Like
No, we're gonna do that after.
yeah. No, you know what?
Okay.
Why don't we do that now? Let's do.
Okay.
Let's.
Let's start with you then.
Yeah. I think.
Whoa. Evan taking control of the
No,
show.
There we go. Thanks,
I
Ev.
just thought it'd be cool. We've been doing this for a year, and I mean, we had like 1 or 2 weeks where it got a little funky, but
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much for 5 people in their early 20s with radically different, time schedules, I think it's been kind of crazy that we
420 job it.
That was really sentimental there for almost a second. It was really pretty. It was really beautiful.
Classic Skylar.
We've all been getting together to have Skylar ruin moments.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's a good idea to talk about maybe some of the moments that stick out for us. I think one thing that's kind of cool for people to know, we talked about this a little bit at the end of the last show, but I think the way we came up with this was kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Jordan and I have been friends since high school. We've played World of Warcraft together a lot. We've played lots of other games together. We've kind of always been gaming buddies in a lot of different ways. And I've done other podcasts before, like for work and for other stuff, and those podcasts had ended because I left that job. And I was talking to him, and I was like, I really want to do a podcast, and I want to do something that's gaming related, but there are so many good gaming podcasts out there that cover, the day-to-day news. Like,
Right.
you can get, the podcast that's from Shack News or from Kotaku or from, there's so many different
The Shaquille
gaming
O'Neal on
podcasts.
Shack News.
Yeah, he does.
I hope so.
But these podcasts that are for established, gaming
Right.
places that have been around forever, and who's going to listen to our opinion of, gaming news over something like that? And so we were kind of talking about what are some hooks we can do for something like this, and I'm glad that we centered on picking a game, talking about it, really kind of diving into it, because I think what it leads to is we have lots of conversations about modern games and game design and game philosophy and some of the stuff that we've all
Right.
loved for a while anyway, but we get at it through a different lens and a different avenue, and it's exposed me to a lot of different games and experiences that I would have never played. I would have never played
Rayman.
Legacy
Yeah.
of Kain. Well, yeah, even Rayman, which I didn't like very much. Like, I'm happy that I played that because I never would have played it, and I didn't understand anything about Rayman. Or something like Legacy of Kain, where that is such a important thing in people's mind, or XCOM. That's such an important thing in people's gaming history that I would have never gone back and played if it wasn't for the show that we're doing. So I think for me that's kind of what I think about is the moments for all of us to come back together. We haven't had as much time to hang out, all of us, and it's brought me a lot closer to Evan.
Yeah,
Seeing
no,
you and
I was gonna say I
met
met
him,
Josh
once.
once.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen Josh
Year.
in person 3 times in the
In the
course
year
of this
we've
year.
been doing this,
Yeah.
I've
This
met
is the
him
first
once.
time
I've seen you a
I've seen
handful
Joe.
of times.
No,
Yeah,
we
right,
did
yeah.
see each other one other time.
Yeah, but it's brought all of us way closer together, and hopefully it's brought other people that are listening.
Well, we all live in different cities
Let's
across
go that.
Colorado too, which has made it harder.
Yeah.
We actually really
So-
do.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We live
I
close.
I
We
wanted
don't-
to
I
take a
wanna see
moment
you.
and just say I'm trying to be sentimental.
Let it this moment.
Do I need another 420?
Yeah, throw it.
420, I love you
sentiments
guys.
in it.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted to thank all of you
Oh,
because
thank
I
you.
really think
thank
it's
you
been really
for
fun,
leading
and
the
I'm glad we're doing
podcast.
it.
Yes, thank you.
So
And not having a bumper for sound clips.
Yeah, no, what the fuck. So Jordan, you want to talk about a moment that sticks out for you?
Oh, jeez. I was expecting us to go around
We
there.
can go around the other way.
We can go around.
No,
Yeah,
no,
go,
no,
Josh.
I'll
Okay.
talk about it.
Too late, Jordan.
It's not fun.
Paradise Lost.
No, it's funny because as much as I kind of I worry, I take so much shit from you guys. I work so hard. Getting this whole thing set up together was a lot of work for me, and I had to call people to figure out how I was gonna get 5 of us. I have an audio recording thing that holds 2 people, and that was definitely not gonna work for the 5 of us.
And we thought about kicking Skylar and Josh and Evan off.
Wait, your moment is today.
Well, hold on.
Nostalgic
really?
moment is today. The 2 hours ago when I was saying this up, it was the best time of my
I like how it was
life.
also a combination of today and bragging. Look at all the equipment I got together.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
We
So
love you, Jordan.
I know you
You're
guys
the
do,
best.
and I hate you all. But it was getting all this together and then putting it together, and this took a good chunk of the afternoon, and we've had some kind of stuff, but it was I did all this work.
Oh my god.
What?
They're just chuckling over there.
Chuckles. Here's the thing. I did all this work, and it was a pain in the ass for a thing that takes a sizable amount of time, a tiny bit of money, that brings in no money or anything at all. And even though all of this has gone to almost 2 hours where you guys just shit on everything that I say. You just collectively, you talk down to me, you shit all over what I say, you talk over me all the time. And you know what? It's been a fun year, and I have a feeling I'm going to keep doing this.
420 love it.
I was gonna say, I feel like we
failed!
we need to rename the show 3 Guys Discuss Gaming, Hate on Jordan, and Skylar Interrupt.
And Evan sleeps.
Evan sleeps.
I sit there silent.
2 Guys Discuss Gaming, and Narcoleptic. And
So, the moral of the story is this has been fun, and I'm big back of everything Sean said, and I think it's been a blast.
I think we all need names. Evan can be the narcoleptic, Jordan can be the scapegoat, I'll be the troll, Josh can be the pretentious video game developer,
and Sean
can be the guy who likes sound and nothing else.
Sound
The
tech.
audio file.
Audio file.
Yep.
So we should do Josh. That's what we should do.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going.
Man, this is all so sentimental, and now mine feels lackluster.
It was sentimental until
Yeah.
423 ball it.
Thanks, Evan. I really enjoyed this. At first, I was like, "Oh, fuck these guys. No, I'm kidding. I liked all of them except for Jordan, and that still rings true. No, I'm kidding. No, I grew up with these guys, actually all except for Evan. We all went to high school together. Evan, I just didn't know you, I'm sorry.
Well, we're all the same age except Evan.
Alright, I missed out.
I probably knew Evan the best of anyone when we started. Well, aside from you.
Yeah, aside from
you lived next to me for
right.
Yeah.
But you know, this is a great crew, and I think we do a lot of fun stuff, and we probably give Jordan a little more shit than he deserves, and we probably don't give Skylar enough shit. But you know,
words ever. Yeah, seriously.
Aside from the fact that every once in a while Skylar will fuck up when we're supposed to record, not show up, or change it at the last minute.
Yeah. It's something you've never done.
I done it once.
Well, or the fact base 8 once.
Or the fact that sometimes on a Saturday I'll have to get up at 10 to record, which is way too early on a Saturday for me. I know I'm a lazy ass, so what? You know,
speaking of which, follows Kickstarter.
Right. Check out the algorithms on Kickstarter. But no, it's been a great time and a lot of fun. I really like everybody here. But to be accurate, I think my favorite moment would have to be when Evan muted himself for 10 minutes and was talking and chiming in and finally goes, "Why can no one hear me?" Right as he
in the Skype chat. Yeah.
I think that was my favorite altogether moment.
Was that the same episode where I posted a ton of Japanese characters in the chat?
Yes. I think that was actually the same one as Technically Competent as well.
No, Technically Sound. I think that was a couple before.
That was a couple before, yeah.
Alright, well, I'll just go off what Josh is saying. With my silent story, I must have muted myself because we always say on Skype, like, if you're not going to be talking,
you're trying to cut down on the
I don't like to edit out breathing noises.
I mean, they're cheesy headset mics, so, like, they aren't that great.
Razor.
Razor. Anyways, I just muted myself, and we were doing quick attacks or something, and I was, like, laughing and just throwing in random things, and, like, no one was listening to me.
Probably been the most vocal he had
right.
I think this is to make up for your falling.
So I was like looking back on Skype and I noticed I've been muted for like the past 8 to 9 minutes. And I was like clicking, I was like, holy shit, I've been muted for like the past 8 minutes. So yeah, no, I think that definitely sums up
Evan's entire experience in one.
It sums up a lot of my feelings for the show.
That clip of you realizing that you were muted was my favorite show.
Oh god.
I would say that, and I think it was I don't remember whichever episode I did the editing for, where I was talking about
the one like 1 week ago.
The one where I was talking
about
last
episode.
Is that what?
Yes.
No, it was the one
no,
before
it was
that.
before.
Oh, okay.
Where I was talking about my sandwich at Wendy's, and like,
oh yeah,
that was the stupidest conversation ever.
I told that story to like 5 different people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, totally understand." I'm like, "You."
We don't. I'm gluten intolerant. He's an asshole. You really swear I care about your sandwich?
Seriously, Tori was like, "I took the corn syrup off," and by that I mean the vegetables. We were like,
"No,
what? No, I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to hear it again."
No, we don't need to retread.
I just say, and we. Like when Sean and I were talking about putting people on, I was like, we should do Evan for his games, and you know we're kind of he's kind of soft spoken, especially compared to a lot of us. But I was like, I think that'd be good. I think it's kind of nice to have a common
opposite of Skylar and
yeah.
If we had another Skylar on the show,
we would be fans.
Don't we already?
But yeah, you should.
No, I'm much more polite than you are. I'm equal volume, but I'm much more polite.
But in classic, you should let me finish talking.
Wasn't Jordan talking?
No, Evan, go ahead.
But no, like I think that whole thing with me muting myself definitely just sums up a lot of how much I really like doing this with all you guys, because like I know that even sometimes it's such a chore to like get us all together to record, and like sometimes just between school and work I'm like, oh, I gotta play this game, and like, oh, I gotta cut out 2.5 hours to record. It's like I still end up coming out of the show like laughing and like glad I did it, just because I don't know, it's been really fun, and definitely something I probably never would have done unless I had been invited to. So
yeah, totally.
Thanks guys.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Oh, and my favorite moment was the whispering voice from Rayman. That sound clip, that moment when you played that sound clip was probably one of the funniest things that will forever be burned in my memory.
Not that one.
No. Go check her.
Alright, Skylar, take us home.
My favorite moment was obviously playing XCOM. That game was so good. Every minute of that game. Oh wait, every game we play has been good, right?
What?
No. No. None of the games we played have been good.
What?
My favorite moment has been being forced to play bad games with people I like talking to.
Yeah, what about all the fucking ones you picked,
No,
like
I'm just
Eevee
kidding.
Winterbot?
I'm just
I was
kidding.
gonna say, like, Dungeons and Dragons, that was
No,
like...
I know, there are games that I like that we've played. I'm just giving you shit. I just realized that your sandwich talk, though, was during Evan's speech. I didn't even realize.
Yep.
That's why I thought Evan was talking.
I was gonna say, it made me think of a really funny
Like
moment.
every show where I just start talking and then someone just goes.
Well, I mean, it's good to know that even when you're in the room, it still happens.
Anyways,
But seriously, I really like the show. Like, I was friends with Josh and Sean in high school, but not really that good of friends.
choice.
And it's brought me a ton closer to them, and I really like that. Jordan and I have always been close, but we really kind of grew up, like, just didn't talk much because we were at totally different schools. So it's really good to get to talk to Jordan more often because we, like, never got to talk. And then Evan's awesome.
Yay.
So, like, whatever.
Yeah, he is.
No, like, I'm really happy that Evan's on the show. I don't know who else we could add who would be, like, as good as Evan is in addition to the show.
Jordan off.
Fuck all of you who want to be on the show. Evan's better than you.
And suddenly our viewership is high.
Well, speaking of which...
Oh, speaking of which, $1 million stretch goal on Josh's Kickstarter. Every backer gets to be a guest on the show.
Yes. Yes.
You know, somewhere...
Hell, I'd even do that for $500. Donate $500. We'll put you on as a guest.
So I just, as we're talking about the viewers, obviously...
500 on the...
Wait, I didn't talk about my favorite moment.
Okay, Skylar, do you
None of them.
Okay, so just to talk about viewers very quickly, I mean, obviously, you know, we love that people, I mean, we definitely, I think, do this for our own benefits, and I think...
It's not for you!
No, I'm saying that having people listen to it, and people, you know, regularly tune in and post on the Facebook, like, that's really fun for us, and I think that adds really to the experience. And I mean, we love interacting with you, you know, and we love getting the emails and then the posts on the Facebook. I mean, like all 5 of us post on Facebook all.
Yes, we wish you guys posted more than we do.
Yeah.
Like we argue with each other on the Facebook because, you know, doing it for an hour and a half twice a week is just isn't enough.
Right, and all Jordan does is post as the podcast, so it's basically
I'm not the only one that
arguing with himself. Yeah. That's
So
all
I
I'm
mean, we just want to thank you for listening,
Yes,
especially those
seriously.
of you who've been listening to us from the beginning.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I know, you know, looking up kind of an amateur podcast about gaming. There's, like Sean said, there's 1.5 million.
bad
of those.
quality at the beginning. We were
Hey,
horrible
look,
at podcasting
This,
at the beginning.
this
You
show
still
would
listen.
exist without you, but it would definitely suck without you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
JK Jordan still be on it.
like that. Like
that was
a
a
Katy
compliment.
Perry song.
Never mind.
Or like a song. My life would suck without you.
What the hell?
That's not a song.
Oh, it is. It's
Kelly Clarkson. Thank you.
Okay.
This podcast.
She's definitely not.
What's up?
She's definitely relevant in 2013.
So, I think that's.
But
good.
seriously, thank you to anyone who's posted on the Facebook.
And
You are
thank you-
better than everyone who hasn't.
Well, and seriously, though, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really do appreciate it, and you know we're still taking ideas and stuff like that, and we
Always want game suggestions.
Yes.
Always.
And we play them like
Yeah.
we always play the game suggestions. I don't think
Yeah,
there's
sometimes
a
it
game
takes us a little while to get around to them if we've
Yeah.
done something in that genre pretty recently. But you know, my favorite one that we've done so far, I think that was on a suggestion, was Beneath a Still Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm so happy that we played that. I think that episode had some of our most interesting discussion and.
And the
Some of my
sound
favorite
clips.
sound clips
Yeah.
came out of that.
I'm your friend, Joey.
Call me Joey.
Oh god.
Need a hand. Like,
God.
some of that stuff has been some of my favorites.
Yeah, and again we like to keep this going. So give us suggestions. We'd love to hear you got an idea for a segment or a game or a series or anything like that. We'd love to hear it, and we're definitely not adverse to taking people's opinions. I think that one of the fun things about listening to it kind of amateur podcast instead of like the the big podcast, right? Is that we will interact with you.
Right. You can be a part of it as much as you want to be.
You make fun of Jordan on the Facebook page, and then I will be in there like, hey, that
And
really
we
is
will
kinda
make
me.
fun of him.
Yeah,
We'll make fun of him with you.
yeah. I mean, we totally do that, and we just look forward to getting more.
If you make bad vegetable photoshops, we will put them on.
Oh, yeah.
And I will like them as many times as Facebook will let me.
You'll create a new Facebook account. Just like it again.
Exactly.
I did want to read really quick. We had Levon, who's
he's been a regular for a long time.
He's been around for a while. I think actually, didn't he give us feedback after the Fear
I think
episode?
he did, I think Levon's been with us the whole time.
He's been around us. Anyway, he just wanted to say really quick, keep up the good work. I love this podcast. The banter and overall review is something most game review shows have lost sight of. It reminds me of old G4 when it was its own network.
That's cool.
And
I call being Morgan Webb.
congrats on the anniversary, and here's to many more. So I thought that was
Thanks,
just
Levon.
a really sweet message.
Where's the gift?
Where's my Starbucks coffee?
Yeah. Why don't you send us coffee to the podcast on Facebook?
Oh God.
But anyway, I thought that was really.
that was really
awesome,
nice.
man.
So.
Yeah, and he also asked for Sean's friend code. That's the real reason Sean
Yeah,
likes him.
I also asked for my 3DS friend
I'll
code,
send mine too, so you can see
Send
how much
mine.
my Pokemon
Yeah,
suck.
that being said, I mean, I don't know if we'll do any multiplayer games soon, but like,
Yeah, I
Sean
would
and
love
Josh
to get
play
community
League,
nights.
right?
Yeah.
Skylar doesn't play Dota anymore, but Evan and I play Dota.
If you guys would play Dota, I wouldn't have to just play with them. I'd play.
No, wait,
I
Evan and I
have played Dota.
Like,
with you.
what?
Evan and I play Dota like a couple times a week. So if you'd like to play with us,
Yeah,
let us know.
Sean and I play League all the time. I'm like glued to League.
And I play every game, so if you want to play any game with
Skylar
me,
plays every game.
I
for
play-
5
Skylar has
minutes.
literally 420
I play
games.
every game for 5 minutes. So pick any game and I'll play with you for at least 5 minutes.
5 on the 5 minutes. Skylar.
Yeah.
That said,
But yeah, I think when we think about places I see this show going, I think something like community nights would be
definitely.
a really.
I'd
big thing that
love to
I
do
wanted
that, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be really fun.
Well, shall we wrap this up?
With our
Yes.
2-sentence
Was that
wrap-ups.
2-sentence wrap-up?
Yeah.
Wrap up.
Sean?
Yeah, I think the sound design in this game was awesome, and I'm really glad
And the sound
that
clips were awesome.
the sound clips were,
When
and that
they get edited in,
remix
yeah.
was sweet, and
Oh yeah.
I'm just glad I got a chance to play this classic. I think it was good.
Yep.
Josh?
Just as good the second time around.
Which is something nobody has said about Josh.
The second time around, you get to do the weird stuff.
Dr. Horrible reference.
Yeah.
I just
But,
sang it. No, I don't get
No.
You can have one.
okay. But,
You're allowed your
but you know, a great game that was
Just one.
ahead of its time.
Everyone gets one.
And seriously, if you guys play it, install some of those texture packs. They really
Yeah, that sounds like a really
I think
cool
I might
thing.
actually do that because
But
I think I'm going to keep playing it.
It's
I'm
a
actually
great
curious,
game, and the
too.
texture packs add a lot. But you know, really, BioShock Zero, great
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
Skylar.
Brought to you by Coke Zero.
Excerpt
Doritos
from
Locos Taco.
GameFAQs.com forum about Bioshock
Oh, God.
thread that says this game is just System Shock 2.5. Yeah, it's really Nintendo's fault that this game didn't live up to your expectations. As if that makes any sense. Besides, Nintendo made a game this year better than both Bioshock and System Shock 2. Super Mario Galaxy.
For you listening viewers,
There was
he
a mic
dropped-
drop,
He
yeah.
dropped the mic.
Dropped the mic.
I think.
So that
by
was
the way,
irrelevant.
I think we should institute a segment where we find like the most horribly written Metacritic review of the game we're playing.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay.
No, I don't want to give any
Segment.
more credence to Metacritic. Let's just ignore it and hope it'll.
Evan.
I guess I
Be
didn't
back.
really get to say much about my opinion of the game, but I really didn't like it too much.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
actually
even mention whether we
struggled-
really liked it or not.
I actually really struggled in a lot of parts of the game, also because I missed hacking, and
I
I
think that's
missed the
a big
whole
one.
RPG.
But you knew about the mini map, so you were right
Yeah.
on the job.
That's because I looked at a fucking walkthrough.
And yet the walkthrough didn't say hack.
You
But
scam. You
I
scam.
don't know. I don't know.
He just thought I was calling him a hack.
But I don't know. I think maybe I just need to like restart. But I was just like trying to play it and get through it so I could talk about it on the show. I didn't want to restart after I had like 2.5, 3 hours. So
That's okay. Just go play Bioshock.
yeah,
Short
I
answers
mean
by
I've already
waifu.
beat that, so I guess I've already played the game.
Yeah, there you go.
And then play Bioshock 2, and then you'll appreciate this game way more.
And that's all of the 2-sentence wrap. Oh wait.
J-Dog.
That's
I
all
would
the
say-
2-sentence wrap-ups. Now we're up to the 10-sentence wrap-ups.
Senior thesis wrap up.
I'll say this. the whole time, I agree with Evan. I didn't enjoy this game very much. That being said, it started to grow on me, and the farther I got, it started to... I could
started to grow on you like a biomass.
Yes, exactly. I started to feel myself having actual fun as opposed to knowing this game is so iconic I should be having fun.
Right.
That being said...
Sam. At least you can see the bullets, right?
Yeah, at least I can see the bullets. Oh, warms my heart. Anyway, I'll say this. I think I said it to somebody else. I feel like if I was going to do survival horror in a spaceship, I'd rather play Dead Space because it does it way better. If I want to do something Bioshock mechanically related with the food and the plasma and whatever, I'll play Bioshock.
Or Super Mario Galaxy.
Apparently. So that's all I got to say about that.
Cool.
What are we playing next time, Jeds?
I kind of forgot the name already.
Cart Life.
Cart
Life.
It's an indie game. It's like a simulation where you own like a food cart or something. It's supposed to have like really deep themes and stuff and be really interesting.
I don't know about deep themes. I think it's kind of an experiential game. Like the idea is to put you in the place of somebody who's trying to work for a living, trying to sell, like you're a new immigrant.
Right, well that's what I mean by deep themes.
Yeah.
Check out Cart Life on Steam. Play it with us.
It's like $5 or less.
You can buy the full version on Steam.
Obviously.
You can also, if you want to play it for free, there's a Flash version online that it came out as originally. So
I think maybe we should play both.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a good idea. And I think really the
Just ran out of video.
We just ran out of video.
Well, at this point, we would be fading to black in the video. And now...
the end of the show.
Watch
out, my outfit's ridiculous. You're looking so conspicuous. And wow, these women all on the prowl. But hold your head steady if you look the cow. Don't forget about things. I will spread the truth. I won't stop till I get him in the birthday suit. Now give me the rhythm and it'll be off at the close. Except I know over the front and touch your toes. Kept the dragon, I hit the roll, then I put him on foot patrol. Ow.
I'm so sad that the camera was on to get your foot patrol
with my
movement.
pinky dragon over 300,000.
This will be for all the people who are actually listening to this.
Bonus. What's up, A-Town down?
Cod Blops. Cod Blops. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
We love you.
That's the show. Thanks, Cleveland. You've been fantastic.
I need to go home.